Hey, what's going on? I'm Johnny Fisher from Still Here Podcast, the number one podcast in the Central Valley. And I just want to talk to everybody real quick about Event Boost. Event Boost is an event coordinating company that works with nonprofits to help raise money for their cause. They do fundraiser dinners, comedy shows, casino nights, car shows, silent auctions, raffles, and so much more. From conception to cleanup, they take care of everything from alpha to omega. So if you're in the Fresno and Clovis area or any place in the Central Valley, hit these guys up at Official Event Boost on Instagram or eventboost.com for all your event needs.
Do you have pests? If so, don't let pests take control of you. Contact Csi Exterminators today for your free pest inspection. Csi Exterminators is proud to serve the residents in the Fresno and Clovis, California area. They also service residents and businesses owners in Southern California, along the Central California coast, the Bay Area, and in Northern California. They provide residential, commercial, and multifamily property pest control services. If you want a trustworthy, reliable, Fresno-based pest control company, look no further. Look up CSI Exterminators at csiexterminators.com or follow them on Facebook at CSI Exterminators. What's so great about these guys is they are a veteran-owned pest control company based in Fresno. Together, they have more than 50 plus years of experience. So give CSI Exterminators a like on Facebook or visit their website at csiexterminators.com.
All right, everybody, want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Bad Donkey Wraps and Graphics. Bad Donkey Wraps and Graphics is a full-service sign shop graphic design studio. They specialize in branding, graphic design, advertising in the form of vehicle wraps, trade show displays, and various of other forms of signage to help your company reach its full potential. Their promise to you is to build quality products through their passion and creative drive. They are committed to excellence with leadership and inventive thinking, paving the way for success for you and your business. So hit these guys up if you guys are looking for all your branding, graphic design needs, and advertising vehicle wraps right now. You can find them at baddonkeyWraps.com or on Facebook at Bad Donkey Wraps and Graphic or on Instagram at Bad Donkey Design Co. Now let's get into the show.
Hey, what's going on? This is the number one podcast in the Central Valley, Still Here Podcast. My name is Johnny Fisher.
And this is your favorite Native American, Jose Cruz. And I agree with you 100%. This is the number one podcast in the Central Valley.
Speak it into fruition.
AKA the toilet bowl of California.
Yeah, which is nice. We're the number one podcast in the toilet bowl.
So we're the big skid mark of California.
Yeah. When you think of skid marks, I want you to think of Still Here Podcast.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, no. Did I take it too far?
I think so.
I think I took it too far again. Hey, we have an awesome episode today with Jose and I. Yeah, we do.
Dope guest.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got to be at least like 2,000 miles or more from here to Virginia. But what I do know is that one of my longtime high school 1990-something friend, Mr. Jeff, traveled across country to come see us across far lands and waters and whatnot. So, Jeff, take a bow, sir.
Wow, I'm so excited to be here. I literally got off the plane 45 minutes ago.
Yep.
So I apologize for my voice and my coughing and all that other stuff. But
welcome to the Central Valley. That's probably what it is.
Listen, if this is the toilet bowl, I would hate to see what the P-trap looks like.
Yeah.
I love this place. Flying in was amazing. I was like,
what's up.
man, I could live here. And then Johnny's like, no, you probably don't want to.
What?
But, no,
I would
I'm just
never
kidding.
say that.
No, he didn't. But this is the number one podcast in Central Valley. And it's also the number one Central Valley podcast on the East Coast.
Nice.
So I'm a super
That's
fan.
big time right there, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We made it,
We're
guys.
going bi-coastal with this show.
Yeah, bi-coastal.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. You guys, I watch all your episodes. I feel like I'm in on some of the inside jokes. So if I bring them up later, don't shut me off.
Right.
I'm just trying to participate.
No, you're already in it, man. So yeah, I'm glad you're here. Johnny's been telling me a lot about you.
Sorry.
And your story. He had told me you were the dominant spoon in the spooning sessions.
Yeah.
There's no question. When we dock, I am the docker.
Yeah.
I'm the docky. It's been a while though. It's been like 12 years. So I mean, I'd like to say that I've grown from it, but I really haven't.
I didn't realize how much I missed a tip-to-tip hug.
Yeah.
You know, when he picked me up from the airport, I was like, this is
This is it.
this is a fond memory.
It is. You know, a lot of people were looking at us and I was like, what? What?
We're docking
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We're okay with our
Yeah.
situation.
Get out of here. You have something to do, beat it.
That's right.
We're docking here. Move on. Move
Yeah.
on
That's
with
right.
yourself. Oh, yeah, and real quick, I'm sorry. Big super shout out to our producer, director,
Yep.
wifey of the game, Laura. What's up, Laura?
Hi, Laura.
Hi, guys.
Yay.
Hey.
Yeah. Sorry, Laura.
sorry.
We
Don't shut us
we kind of
down.
went off on that tangent right real quick.
Docking.
I mean, it's not like every day you have a groupie on your show.
Dude,
you know?
It's my fault.
Yeah.
I take responsibility.
But yeah, so let's get into this, man. Kind of just tell us who you are, how you know Johnny, your guys' lifestyle. As far as you want to go back, maybe no repressed memories between you two. Don't go in that rabbit hole.
I have nothing but like great memories of
get
Jeff
into
and
that,
I.
man.
Yeah.
Just get to know you.
Johnny and I met in June of 1990.
Damn.
I was working at the Salem Willows.
Yes.
Which is like this little local amusement park. And calling it amusement park is very generous. It like back in the day, it had like a tilt-a-whirl. I don't know who that is. It had like a 22-foot roller coaster.
Carousel.
And it had a carousel inside one of the buildings. It had like these little boat things that went around. It was probably about
Yeah.
as big as this coffee table, and you rang the bell, ding, 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 and little kids went on it. But I worked in the skee ball arcade.
Yeah.
So I was the guy that when the girls got their skee balls stuck or they wanted extra tickets, that was my game. I did take the key, take out some tickets, and that's how I got my in.
Yeah.
Johnny comes walking by, and back then we kind of looked alike. We both have a little bit darker complexion.
Yeah.
We both have dark hair. We both have names that begin with J. We're like, so I see this kid, and he's
It made sense.
Yeah. And immediately we started talking, and I just remember I could be friends with this guy.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
We kind of bounced things like it was like a comedy show before. Like we both loved stand-up comedy, and I mean we'd spend hours like just sitting in your mom's living room watching Comedy Central, watching
Tone Loc.
Tone Loc. We called my mom's Joan, his mom.
Yep, Joan Loc and Tone Loc.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
really?
it's
Yep.
pretty funny.
what's up.
And also funny, my dad lives on the same street that
Yeah.
Jeff used to live on. So growing up, so it's
Yep. And I
it's
didn't even
kind of
know
funny.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that till later.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's just a lot of similarities, and just like we were both in the Navy. We both like, man. I just have a lot of funny.
Johnny, you may not know this, but when I was look, if I come across as boastful, I apologize because I'm talking about old Jeff, not new Jeff, transformed Jeff, or at least I hope so. But back in the day, I got full scholarship to college. I was a pretty smart kid. I'm dumber than a box of rocks right now, so that's long gone. I killed those brain cells.
You and me both.
But
I'm there.
I was going to the Salem State College, which is the local hometown college where we grew up.
They also call it Seldom Straight College.
Seldom Straight. Now it's Salem State University. They've upgraded. Yeah. And now their colors aren't brown and poop brown. They're like blue and orange.
Yeah,
So
I like the
it's like a
old
real
school.
college
I like
now.
the old school colors better. It's way awesome.
So I didn't like it because it was like going to high school all over again. So I didn't know what to do with myself. So for like 4 months, I worked at the same company that my mom did. It was an office supply company. She was a receptionist, and I did deliveries of their catalog. She had no idea until her boss. Listen, this is another thing. You guys got to keep me on track because my brain, when I start reminiscing, is going to go.
Then I'll know like you guys.
He's used to
Like
he's,
Johnny?
He's used to it.
Yeah, reel it in, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know where you went. but
Timeline, buddy.
We are off the freeway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll wrap that up. I didn't know what I was going to do. He had just left for the Navy, and I said I could probably do the Navy, and maybe I'll run into Johnny Fisher. So 4 months later, I was in boot camp for nuclear power school in Orlando, and then I found out this clown goes to Adak, Alaska.
Right.
And I was like, well, probably not going to see him in Adak. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Really?
yeah,
That's
and
on the
And I
Aleutian
ended up in
island chain.
Sasebo, Japan. So you can't really get
Well, we're kinda close,
Adak
yeah.
and Japan were close.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, yeah, that's probably we're not going to see him.
By the time you went there, I think I transferred to San Diego, here in California.
Well, he was an airman too, and I was a seaman.
Yeah,
Oh, hello.
something. There was a lot of water involved.
Crack
is all
the
I'm
jokes
saying.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let the jokes
Well, now-
begin, sir.
Because he had told me a lot about your experience, you guys. Because you had mentioned earlier before we were rolling, the old you versus to the new you, and you probably can attest to this. Where do you see the growth and the difference between like the younger you than the you now?
First, the waist
waist.
Yeah.
That's,
Length is,
I'm on the same.
Yeah. So that's the first thing most people notice.
Yeah.
When you're ordering online clothes, you're like, I think I'm a 32. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Or,
used to
or
be.
a 42. I don't know. Give me a 36
Yeah.
and we'll split the
Yeah.
difference.
Where is the stretchy pants?
Yeah. I gauge it more of like I was 3 chins ago. You know?
You joke about stretchy pants. Hello.
Are those stretchy jeans? Are those jeggings?
Well, look, I got to get it over the boot.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
we
rocking some
definitely want to get in that,
jeggings,
but
boy.
kind of like let's go over you guys because you obviously grew up with each other and you guys separated for a long time. Because I remember Johnny saying, haven't heard it from this guy, or we haven't hung out, been around each other for so long, but yet look, here he is now. And
It's just constantly coming back
Yeah.
into my life. Like even when I left for the military, he was still like go over to my dad's house, hang out, play some darts, have a couple beers. My dad would send me pictures. He's like, "Hey, Jeff came by today," and and I'm like, "Oh man, that doesn't make me feel bad at all." It's
Johnny
it's
Senior is
okay.
a character. Have you ever met him?
no.
Oh, my God. He's the best dude on the planet.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good dude.
And Dottie's a sweetheart, too.
Yep,
Really?
his wife. Yeah, my step monster, my friggin' step monster.
She doesn't take any BS, though.
No.
Oh, that's
That's
dope.
one thing I remember about her.
Yeah, I've seen her choke out at least 17 people.
I may have been one of them.
Yep. Jeff, leave now. Yes, ma'am.
Well, so let's kind of jump into this, man. Your story as far as how you grew up. Where do you think your struggles were? Where you felt like you grew from or become a better person, better man, better human being.
Yeah.
What's that about? What's your story about?
And before you start, before we started rolling and getting into this episode, we were talking about like doing a little research, and I was talking about how like all great heroes like it usually starts by either crossing water or being involved in water in some sort of way, and just discovering. Not that I'm not saying that you're a hero, but like we all have that. We all have maybe. I mean, we all have like those heroic moments in life. We all have the villain moments in life, and we all have the victim moments in life. And just kind of like diving into like Jose was saying about the real Jeff. And
Okay.
let's cross some water, bud.
I'll take a breath, and I may even get emotional. So it's okay to cry.
Yeah, it is.
Real men cry.
They do.
Yeah.
They wear their hearts on their sleeve. And if you're not that kind of guy, you're probably struggling with something that you're not ready to talk about. So that's the way I look at it. So when I was a kid, before I met Johnny, I had some real trauma in my life, psychological and sexual trauma. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but essentially I had to deal with some things. And when I was growing up, I found myself really struggling with my own sexuality. Not that I was gay, and there's nothing wrong with being gay, but I didn't know what that meant. And after I was abused by some high school kids that I hung around with in the neighborhood, that became sort of my internal struggle. And I didn't realize that till probably about 15 years ago. So I found myself trying to overcompensate by sexualizing girls and women, by looking at pornography. And that became sort of my hidden talent, was pornography, if you want to call it that. But that was what my demon was. So throughout the years, even in college and in high school, I was very, very overtly involved in sex with women. And I don't say that to boast, because it's one of my most shameful things. I'm not proud of it. But that led to some other areas in my life where I made some decisions that weren't really healthy. And that became something that I don't struggle with today. So that's the first sort of villain, victor part of my life.
And we talked, like when we were on the way over here, we talked about like masking and compartmentalizing things that, whatever trauma or just other things that we've been through in our lives. And we put that stuff away, or we wear that mask of whatever it is. And then, we were wearing masks long before there was a mandate, man, long before there was a mandate. And, it's just one of those things that I didn't know that. I mean, I just thought we were chasing girls. We went to Hampton Beach and New Hampshire. We went everywhere. We were chasing girls all over the place. I remember running home one morning, sorry, Dad, at like 2 a.m. and it was a torrential downpour, like New England, like storm. And I'm running, I'm praying. I'm like, God, I swear I'm never going out with Jeff again, man. I swear we'll never change it. We were pool hopping to other people's pools and stuff.
I was a
just
terrible
chasing girls.
influence
We had such it was like it was so funny. I look back on it and my dad goes, long night. I go, yeah, He goes, you meet anybody else? You know, and he gets into it, but like, yeah.
Well, can we go to church tomorrow?
Yeah.
Please. I might burst in flames,
Yeah.
but walking through the door. But so I tell you all that because that whole scenario was my first sort of mask. Like I didn't want anybody to know that was my struggle. I didn't want anybody to know that I was confused about who I was sexually. And to compound that issue, I come home when I'm like 13 years old is when my mother and dad got divorced. And, shortly, so I'm going through this bookshelf and my mom was a big Stephen King fan. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll read a Stephen King book. I don't know what 13-year-old is ready to read a novel, but I was apparently.
Yeah.
And I find this book, Loving Someone Gay. And I immediately went like, oh my God, I am gay. My mom knows. And she's trying to figure out how to love me. Yeah, it was traumatic.
Yeah.
So I confronted her about it because I was so upset, probably a couple weeks later. And I said, Mom, can you explain this? And she looks at me, she goes, your Uncle Buddy's gay. Because after I got over the fact that maybe it wasn't about me, I'm thinking, maybe my dad is. And that's why they got divorced. I'm 13. I don't know anything about hormones and what's going on. No one had the talk with me. I figured it all out on my own, probably too young. So that was my first sort of situation where I felt like I didn't want anybody to know. And I was hiding that, talking about masks. So we fast forward a few years. I find out that my mom had cheated on my dad about the same time I was conceived. And now the man I call my dad is my dad. And if he saw this, it'd probably break his heart that I suspect and probably know. And my sister the same way. But my dad is the most generous guy you'll ever meet. He allowed this guy to move into the house when he was going through tough times. And my mom was cheating on my dad with this dude. He confronted her about that when I was 13 and that blew up and he left. My dad's dying wish, he's not dead yet, but he told me pretty clearly, if I'm in a wheelchair, I want you to wheel me up to his grave and piss on it. I said, Dad, you got to learn to forgive because even though you don't like him, he did try to take care of me in your absence, So that's something most people don't know about me, that my family is like a soup sandwich, It may sound good, but it's real messy to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
So that's something that kind of led to a mask. I wasn't real proud of that. I didn't have a real good example of family. So we overcome that by hiding that, compartmentalizing that, and trying to figure out the best way to move forward and be successful in life. But what it taught me was, from my mom, I learned how to manipulate situations. And I was a master. And I probably could fall right back into it in a second if I had to. And that's the part that I've learned in the last few years that I absolutely despise about myself, and that my faith has kind of dealt with me about in trying to become something that is more than just what people see on the outside. If you looked at me, go ahead. Do you have a question?
No.
If you looked at me in I don't know, 2008, I had a beautiful home. I had a brand new Harley. I had all the big boy toys, beautiful wife.
Yeah.
We didn't have any kids, so we spent all our money on us, my wife and I, ex-wife and I. And from the outside, everybody would look at me. I had a great job. I was running a multimedia company and handled Richmond and DC and traveled all over the East Coast, training up all the other offices. So on the outside, I had it all together, but on the inside, I was dying. And my pornography addiction came back, and it was not. It put a real strain on my marriage. So 2018, she finally had enough, and we got divorced. So that's the next sort of issue that I had to deal with and overcome, because you remember, I've been dealing with rejection, sexual abuse, homosexuality. My big issue was validation. When you deal with all these things, I didn't feel like I brought value to the world. I knew my dad loved me, but he never said, "You're doing a great job and I love you." So everything that I did, I was seeking validation from other people. And the poison in my life was comparing myself to other people. And I didn't know it at the time, but my high school yearbook quote was, and I was just trying to sound smart, but it was, comparisons are odorous. Comparisons stink.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant at the time, but as I'm thumbing through my yearbook a few months ago, because I found it in storage, I was like, man, that's so much more deep than I knew it was back then. And I think about it, I think the downfall of almost every person is when they start comparing themselves to what somebody else has.
Yeah.
You know, when you start saying
What somebody else has, what somebody else does.
Or do.
Yep.
right. But you don't know what they had to do to get there.
Exactly.
And you don't know what's
Such a
really
huge
going
point.
on in here as the outside looks like it's so wonderful and beautiful and you're jealous of what they got.
Right. Everybody sees like the end product. I posted something about Jay-Z, and he was talking, and he was like, everybody's envious of like the end product, but nobody wants to be there for you through that storm, through that middle part, the productivity part, and like everything you have to do to get to the end.
Yeah, and that reminds me of something I always say too, man. People don't know that story behind the glory.
That's right.
You know, I know. I should have saved this quote, but there's one quote I heard from this pastor saying, you know, people pray for those who, because the Bible says when you seek kingdom of God, all these things will add unto you and all this stuff. And then, you know, many people pray for the guy seeking, but criticize the person that was praying when all those things get added to you, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that really spoke to me, man. And a lot of times where I feel like, you know, especially when we do this show, when we, you know, because here in the Central Valley, man, everybody's a creator. Everyone does this stuff, man, and, you know, how to rise up above all that. And, you know, and I've learned that because what a lot of killed my creativity and my courage and stuff to go do is comparison, you know. And now that, because when you're talking, all I'm thinking about just hearing just your little, just this little part of your story, I'm thinking, man, how am I going to try to be a better father for my kids? Because I didn't have the way me and my wife are as parents. We didn't have parents like us. I wish I had parents like us because I see that our kids are so blessed. Our kids are so confident in their mindset and their decision making. And, you know, and all I'm thinking, man, I just want to continue to be that blessing, you know, because guys like us, man, the way our childhoods were, it's like, man, we didn't have this self-aware, this confidence, this stuff where our parents can teach us, no, man, it's okay to be this. It's okay to be that. It's okay to have this struggle with, you know, your sexuality. It's okay to have these doubts. It's okay. We're here for you. You know, that assurance, you know, knowing that, hey, I'm just a human being. I can make mistakes. I don't know. I like all this stuff's going through my head. Just hearing this little part of your story, man, which is, I'm shocked. I'm like, just share this. I'm shocked. I'm just like what a 13-year-old had. Like, what's that? Because my son's 12.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, I'm like, right now, I'm thinking, what do I got to do to make sure that he's confident? He knows he's loved. He's okay and whatever. And he has no doubt. You know, I'm thinking that this is what's like really in the first 20 minutes of this show. It's like, I'm already contemplating the next 20 years. How do I be better? You know,
Let me encourage
That's
you
huge.
because
That's so
those are nobody else's kids and you're their father.
Big facts.
And they can't swap. Nobody
Yeah.
can come in and be their father and no other kids can come in and really be yours unless you want them or adopt them or whatever. But the fact that you're already thinking about that, whether I inspired the thought or not, it's irrelevant to me, but because you're the kind of man that thinks about those things and takes words that other people say and says, how does that apply to my life? I don't think you have to worry about it. I think your kids are probably in the best place they could possibly be.
I appreciate that, man.
And quite honestly, I mean, just speaking to them, I mean, they're already smarter than, well, all of us. Maybe
Whoa,
not Jeff.
whoa, whoa,
Maybe
whoa.
not Jeff. But,
Come on, man.
Is that quick?
I'm the second smartest. Everybody else is tied for first.
Well, let's get back into that.
Anyway.
I mean, you had, you know, I mean, the question I have now, and I'm just going to ask, you know, you said you struggled with your sexuality. Are you gay, or is that something you feel like you came out on?
It depends. Do you find me attractive?
I always
Yeah, I
have.
can.
I mean, but
I mean, if I
I am
find this
not-
guy-
what's your
I am
definition
not
of gay?
Okay.
Yeah, I am not sexually attracted to other men.
Okay.
Not even if they were men and become a woman. I'm not really attracted to that scene either. And I don't say that to disparage people that are in that lifestyle.
definitely, yeah.
It's just not my thing.
What was the struggle then in that? What made you feel that you were, or especially at that age, you know?
So not having been exposed to sex or sexuality or anything like that until I was 10, 11, 12, 13 is when the abuse happened. I thought by default, because somebody did this to me, that made me gay. And I didn't feel gay,
Wow.
but I struggle with the idea that, am I? Because I didn't know. I didn't have that. I didn't say, hey, mom, this happened. My parents don't even know that happened.
Wow.
You know, it happened in 1984 to 86. You know, that's like when I was born, that's like 1928 when you think about how far along that was. So, you know,
Wow.
so it's something that happened to me, but it doesn't necessarily, now I realize it doesn't identify who I am. It's not my identity.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I say about most of the things in my past. I made some pretty crappy decisions. Johnny has participated in some of my crappy decisions.
Or influenced.
Right.
You asshole.
I feel like
I feel that.
I feel like Jeff and I influenced each other to do fun things, and I call them fun things. Maybe not negative, but like
no, they were all fun.
Yeah,
but they were dumb.
Yeah.
Yes, they weren't exactly like oh, we really like thought this one through, bro.
I saw a meme the other day. What is something that you did when you were a kid that would be considered utterly dumb today? And I was like, what didn't I do?
Yeah.
I mean, I drank out of a hose. Are you kidding me? That would be like,
Yeah, same here, man.
The list is better if it goes the other way. What didn't you do? You know what I mean? Like
it's hard for me to
so
come
much
up with
easier.
anything on that list, though.
Same here, man.
The list would be shorter, is what I'm saying.
For sure.
Well, let's get into that. I mean, as you got older, then you said, your parents don't know this side of you. Let's continue into like getting to know you. How has that changed you? How's that even like at your age now? How's that changed you? Does it still affect you? Does all that still like do you feel certain way? Does it like trigger something in you?
So let me just touch upon one more thing. So the pornography addiction started affecting my work, and I got fired from my job as a result of it. And it was a good job. And so I didn't have I worked for that company for like 7 years. So I didn't have any recent references to go back into it. So I kind of decided, and just so you know, I was flipping houses on the East Coast at the same time. And I was actually at the point where I was making more money doing that than I was at my other thing. So I did that, got licensed as a contractor, and started doing work in other people's houses. So I became an entrepreneur sort of as a result, which was a good thing. You take your mess and turn it into something good if you can. If you can't, well, maybe it's a message for somebody else to steer them away from something,
I had plenty of those, man.
But what I had learned through all those the few experiences that I told you about that I held on to as my identity was I didn't want people to know any of that. And I wasn't transparent about it. And I hid all that and buried it and compartmentalized it. So in order to keep that hidden, I had to manipulate situations. And I became the master of convincing somebody to give me what I wanted and making them think it was their idea, which probably is why I was such a great salesperson. You know what I mean? But, again, another good thing that came out of my mess. But I came to my faith in 2010, and it was sort of an immediate situation. And it stemmed from needing validation, my sense of self-worth, me not really understanding how to love somebody, because pornography will do that. Pornography literally changes the chemicals in your brain so that you are not able to legitimately give love, but more importantly, receive genuine love.
Yeah.
Come on.
So when you spend hours a day, and I was spending hours a day, looking at pornography and doing the things that go along with looking for pornography, I had nothing left for my wife, but I manipulated that situation to make her think it was because of my issues, not because I didn't love her, and I did. And she was beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
But she had enough of it. And so that was 2018. And she dealt with that for 10 years. She kind of just accepted the situation. So when I learned that I was a master manipulator, and I hated that about myself, I realized that I needed to tell people that I was close with so that they could hold me accountable. If you start hearing me spew some bullshit, and it's bullshit and it's coming from bad places in my brain, call me out, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy for you, and I don't want to be that guy for me. And then I would start telling people a little bit about my story, and most people will respect the fact, just like you guys. I love that you guys are honest about the trauma that you guys went through. I love that you guys, when I watch the podcast, my brain, like you just a few minutes ago, my brain, I start thinking about, boy, if I was on that podcast, this is what I'd be saying right now. This is how it's affecting me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the point behind.
I know it is. That's why I'm a subscriber.
We want to invoke like thought and good thought behind this stuff. And I'm not changing the subject. I'm staying right on the subject. And I was on my phone because I was looking at your YouTube page, and
just a guy, Jeff.
Just a guy, Jeff. Yep. And you're probably one of the most successfully failed successful person I know. And it's peaks and valleys, but you just refuse to freaking stop punching. Yeah. You refuse it. And like on here, I was like, I looked at it the other day, but I wanted to get the words right. And today I was having coffee, and I was thinking like, why does he put former this, former that? And like when I hear former, I don't necessarily hear failure. I just hear like, I used to be this. I used to be that. I used to be, and like all those used to be's build who you are now.
Yeah.
And that's so rad to think about, but like, and I know this because knowing depression, knowing trauma, and knowing, so when I read something or when I see somebody's face or see somebody's eyes, like I know I can see trauma. I can see like there's something different in that person. And just, if you don't, can I read, do you mind if I read the beginning of like your intro of so Just a Guy Jeff, be your own boss, online marketing specialist, former Navy, former high school teacher, former general manager of a large multimedia company, entrepreneur, business owner, remodeling contractor, restoration estimator, project manager, Christian, former bad decision maker, rock bottom hitter, bouncer back higher.
Yep.
That's so rad. And I wouldn't expect anything less of you. Knowing like how we grew up, like we met like in high school. I think we were both freshmen in high schools, and I'm living in Maine and seeing my dad in Salem and hanging out with you and just watching you grow through that. I would have never bouncer back higher.
Well, if you talked to me in 2008 or 2010, I thought I was the top. I literally believed that I was God. Like I am the manifester of my own destiny. Wow. I am in control. And I was not my own God, but I was in control in my brain, not really. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that comes from this personality of being a narcissist and a master manipulator. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be in control because I'm not smart enough, but I want to be able to make good decisions for the right reasons. You guys had an episode about courage, and the stuff I sent Johnny didn't make the show.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It didn't make the show. That's the truth. I'm not bitter about it.
I'm horrible. Just so everybody knows, if I asked you and you wrote in, just so you know, I did that the day of. Yeah. So we shot like within, like I was in my truck outside here, like receiving text messages of Kurt. I didn't properly plan that. Jeff's to blame.
I did get a text back though, pretty quickly, beyond perfect. But it didn't make the cut. So, whatever, Johnny. It's fine.
We have a plan that we're still working on.
Still validation for it.
I need the validation. Didn't I make that clear a few minutes ago?
Well, I like what it said, because I want to get back to your, continue what you were talking about before Johnny rudely interrupted.
Mm-hmm. Got off the freeway.
Yeah, start talking about Johnny.
I didn't.
No, you did. I'm just messing around.
I talked about me.
But one thing I like about it, it says Christian, former bad decision maker, rock bottom hitter. I forgot where you left off, man. But again, what I'm getting from you is that you're open about, like you said, your pornography addiction. A lot of my friends that I know, a lot of these dudes watch it. They ask if I watch it. I was like, man, I got no time to watch it.
That's good. Stay busy.
Yeah, because my kids, my wife, works from home. We all work from home. My kids are stay home school. They homeschool all day. I'm here in the office, so it's like it'd be weird if I'm creeping or I'm going to take a dump, and that's where I get my office. It's like I got no time, But I do know for a fact that does, because I've studied. I've seen studies about what pornography does to men and all that. And it distance yourself from your wife. It gives you this false fantasy, this false reality of what sex is and love is, man. So that's what ended your guys' marriage, you and your wife's marriage. Mm-hmm. And, what was the tipping point for her on that? And she was just, what was her?
We stopped having sexual relations because I was worn out from doing it on my own. Mm-hmm. And she felt unattractive and unwanted. And we grew more and more distant. I remember one time she told me, I feel like we're best friends who live together. Mm. And I remember reading somewhere that's like the death knell of marriage. When you guys consider yourself, it's okay to be best friends, but you need to be lovers, you need to be supporters, you need to be encouragers, you need to do everything else that goes with a marital relationship. Mm-hmm. And she didn't feel attractive. I didn't feel worthy because I was too busy cheating on her with hundreds of women on the internet. the problem is when your struggles, when you get beyond the actual struggle and you get into what's going on in your heart, if it has to do with self-worth and validation, you're going to find it somewhere. You can put your efforts into something that's rewarding for yourself and your family, or you can put yourselves, if you're a selfish, narcissistic manipulator, it's much easier to just go online. No porn star ever said no to me. You know, I'm online. Thank you. Oh man, I'm the best ever at this. It's the worst thing. It's you said it, it's such a false sense of sexuality, but it's immediate gratification in many ways, but it's also immediate validation. Because when you link sexual release with validation, it's as powerful as heroin, as narcotics. The same dopamine. It's dopamine, and then you've got these things called vasopressin and oxytocin. You guys need to look that stuff up, anybody watching the podcast, and see how those chemicals tell you how you make bonding relationships with women. And if you've bonded with 150,000 different people on the internet with no real connection, the sexual bond is real and the chemicals are the same as if you meet the love of your life. But when you spend so much time with all these crazy internet porn stars, you might meet the love of your life and not know how to give her love or receive her love.
It's the same thing with drugs.
And it's dead on arrival.
Yeah.
She might be the most attractive thing and you guys have some kind of connection, probably sexual, but you're not going to be able to perform in any way in that relationship.
What helped you get rid of that addiction?
So again, my faith played a big role in it. You know, I started becoming a very devout Christian, and I don't want to get too deep into that story, but, you know, I spent probably 1,000 hours studying the Bible, not just reading the Bible. I'm talking about going back to Hebrew and Koine Greek and all that stuff. And it spoke to me in a way, you know, I can't define my own sort of moral compass because I'm a human being and we're always going to be corrupt. We're always going to have a little bit of selfishness in there. So I started taking stuff from the Bible and applying it to my life and trying to use that as my standard. And it worked for me. It may not work for somebody else. And let me be clear. When I talk about people that struggle and have success, not everybody's a narcissist. Not everybody's a manipulator. There are people that just have it in them to work hard, be successful, and provide. I didn't have that gene because I didn't have that family structure. I didn't have that, you know, those kinds of things. So if you raise your kids right or you were raised right, there's probably a much better chance that they're going to do the right things.
What's raised right though nowadays? Anyway,
well, it's up to you.
That's it. I don't know. I don't know.
It's back to that comparison, right?
Well, I think that reminds me, you know, because I saw this quote say, "Love people know how to love people. Healed people know how to heal people." You know, and if you're raised right, you'll know how to raise. And again, my mind is going, you know, like what ifs and where my marriage, we've been married this maybe 17 years.
Wow.
And, you know, every day I'm trying to be better. Every day I'm trying, especially coming off my COVID sickness and all that, man. And, you know, one thing I've learned in my marriage, man, is if we got to communicate. We got to stay eye to eye. You know, if we lose ground, we lose focus, we become, I don't want her to be my best friend. I want her to be my wife.
Right.
You know, and I'm trying every day to fight certain things in me, you know, because like you, I didn't have the proper way to how to treat a woman, how to treat a wife. And I had so many women in my life because of my dad, you know, and I thought that's how you treat women. I had all these examples from my buddies and their uncles and their older brothers, how they treat women. And so that's what I brought into this. You know, and I had to undo all that because I didn't know mentally that was like ingrained in me. This is how women should be treated. And again, my whole mindset now is my legacy with my kids and my son, man. He's going to be a dime piece when he gets older. That boy going to know how to treat a woman.
That's right.
You know, because he sees where my mistakes are. And I'm very open with my errors and who I am as shortcomings as a father to my kids. And they know what happened to me in my past and when I was a kid. They know where I was at my lowest mentally, man. And they know about those 2 times I tried to commit suicide and take my life. And they're very aware. You know, in the conversations we have with them, man, I always look back. I wish my dad would talk to me like this. I wish when I was
100%
11, 12 years old, my dad wouldn't shun me, say, "Hey, don't be no little bitch, man. Just go out there, be a man."
Right.
You know, men don't do that. I'm like, well, this is what a man should be. I guess that's so, you know. And the first thing, I love what you said, you know, I may cry and real men cry. You know, I appreciate that, you know, because that is true.
Because you're a big wimp.
I am a big
Okay,
wimp.
that's good. I love that about you.
You know, but he just again hearing your story right now, just this little bit of it is insane, man. To see where you're at now, man. I'm blown away because again, you're still here out of all that, and that's why we love our show. We love the name of it, you know, and that's how it relates to a lot of people that watch us and so far has, you know, supported us, you know. But let's get into your let's finish this story as far as like. Became a Christian, you know, you started changing, you got rid of that addiction. Where did you start seeing the growth and the new change happen in your life where, you know, I'm actually now moving forward and using what I saw in your post, what the devil meant for bad, God used for good, man. Where did you start seeing that growth and that good?
So the first time I really started seeing the change in my life is when I was able to acknowledge that I needed to change something about my life. If you stay with the mask on and you stay hidden in darkness and nothing comes to light, you'll never address it. Nothing will ever change. You're doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. So that was a big part of the journey was this is a problem. It's interfered with the way I want to live my life. It's interfered with my relationship. It's interfered with my career. It's interfered with my owning my home. You know, in the divorce, I gave my wife pretty much everything. I took a few dollars to get a restart on.
Yeah.
But through all that time, I didn't want to just still be here. I wanted to start winning. That was the biggest thing. Like, okay, I've kind of skated through because I'm smart enough to manipulate everything. Like I was probably a terrible boss. You know, I was probably a mediocre salesperson, but I knew how to do things. Like I said, I could manipulate every situation I was in. And I got people to like me because I was the funny, outspoken idiot that made people laugh, probably sometimes a little too inappropriately. And I realized that that was all just a persona I put on to hide the shame of being molested when I was a kid, to hide the shame of dealing with am I gay or not, to hide the shame of, you know, dealing with pornography in the dark. All of that shame prevented me from becoming the man that I wanted to be. So once I addressed what caused me all that shame in those three primary areas, you know, the molestation, the gay, and the pornography, which all led to each other, not as an excuse, that's not why it happened, but it led to my decisions.
All linked. It's all linked.
Yeah, it's linked. There's a correlation, not a causation.
Right.
So
right, correct.
That's what I would say. If there are people watching the show, men or women, and you're struggling in an area in your life, get outside of the physical barriers or whatever you think is the problem and start looking, why was that a problem?
That's what we talked about on the way. Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're going to find yourself struggling for a long, long time. And it's amazing. Once you make that acknowledgement, at least for me, I can only speak for me, but once I made that acknowledgement, being an entrepreneur became easier because now I got to be my genuine self and found out that people like genuine Jeff as opposed to manipulator Jeff. I realized that the people that I had made friends with in the past, Johnny's a rare commodity for me. That doesn't make sense. Rare commodities and oxymoron.
Right, it's an oxymoron, but yes, so, I am a commodity. Yes.
No, there's not many Johnny Fishers, that's for sure.
That's 100% true.
But this is one guy from my past who reached out to me from a recent tragedy, and I hadn't seen him or talked to him in probably 10 years.
We want to get into.
For sure. Yeah. So anyway, I would just say that once you acknowledge the past and start dealing with those issues in here, things break off from your life that weren't healthy in the first place.
Right.
And doors get open to things that you may not have even thought possibility. So I started 3 businesses since all this happened, and all of them were pretty successful. My current venture, I own and operate a power washing company in Virginia, and, you know, we did awesome last year. And thank God, because in October, which we're going to talk about, if I didn't, I would be destitute and probably homeless and really struggling. So all the work that you put in to deal with issues and all the work that you put in for the right reasons to be successful, and whatever your measure of success is success, whatever your measure of success is for success. I wanted to just live, you know, and once I made the commitment to start living, then things started falling into place, or I was able to make decisions to put things into place.
And it was easier to let go of what was holding you back.
100%. I'll tell this story once we're talking about the most recent overcoming, but and we're still dealing with it. It's not quite overcome, but I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I feel good about it, Johnny.
You know, let me ask you this, Johnny. You hearing your, you know, like your longtime friend, man, addressing the issue. You know, me and you've talked about a lot of addressing issues. You know, every day, every time I call you, you know, we talk on the phone. You're like, yeah, I'm good. Just going through this, going through that. And I always think about you, man. I really do. And again, hearing you say that, I had to address this. I had to address this. So I wanted to fix this. And I was thinking about Johnny right now. I'm like, maybe go over your process, how you address certain days, how you feel, certain things that cross your mind or things that's happened.
Yeah, my mental state is like in a body cast all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been reading a lot. I really have. And just want to touch on, I didn't know anything about this, about Jeff's growing up or
really?
I mean, we talked about our parents being divorced. Yeah, your parents divorced. Yeah, my parents divorced. Oh, okay. I mean,
back then I wouldn't have shown it to you.
Right. And I didn't show Jeff any of the trauma of, watching my mom, go through to her stuff, her drug addiction and my parents' drug addiction, and then mom overdosing and stuff like that. Like, I would never show. That was so far back in my brain that I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to go meet girls. I knew that Jeff and I were linked like that. We were like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. But my mental state now, it's like the inside of my body is, and I just kind of came up with this analogy this week. The inside of my body's at 8,000 RPMs, and my miles per hour is like 25. So everything around me is slow, but inside, I'm running like hot.
Right. Yeah.
I need an oil change. I need a new spark plug. I need to get revamped, man.
When you say that,
I need a rebuild.
Do you mean like revved up in a good way? Like there's stuff you want to do, or revved up like, oh, this is crushing.
Like my parasympathetic nerve is like always on.
Yeah.
My fight or flight is just always like on. You know what I mean?
How are you addressing that though?
A lot of therapy, reading. I do a thing called counter strain, yoga, going for walks. And honestly, communicating with my wife, communicating with my friends. One of the biggest things that I did when I was having suicidal ideations was I just stopped dead in my tracks. And I'm like, nope, no more alone stuff. No more packing things down. No more. Joni, I need help. I need your help. And then I called my friends and I'm like, I'm going to make dinner for you guys. I need to talk to you. And I had them at the house, made dinner for them. And I was like, listen, this is what happened. And I just need to be honest with you. And I need you. What I need from you is to be there for me. That's what I need. I need you to if you see something happening, I need you to address it with me right then. Don't talk about it on a text thread or anything like that I'm not involved in. I need you to address it right then, right now.
Don't be there, be here.
Right. Yeah. And so there's so much of that right there that I've learned like throughout this process, this, 47-year process, I keep on like these layers just keep on falling apart on me. And, given the job that I've had, for 20 years, I'm realizing things now that I have gone through all the hundreds of critical incidents that I've been involved in, that they revisit me in my dreams. They, the flashbacks that I have, all these things that are being addressed now. Yeah. And I'm working, I'm trying. I'm more interested in living.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm more interested in. And doing this. And there's been several times where they're like, man, I've been out and I've seen friends and, dude, I love the podcast. What you guys are talking about is so freaking hot, man. And, I get that. I understand. I can relate with you. And that's our biggest thing is wanting to be relatable, but shifting back to mental stuff. I want to get to a point, and I've been surviving my whole life. Mm-hmm. My whole life. We've been surviving. Yep. We've been surviving. We've been, all of it, we've been surviving, and we're in survivor mode. I want to get into living mode. And as I venture off into, probably retirement pretty soon in one area, or closing a chapter of one area of my life, I would like to start living, truly living and being present and being, if you're going to be here, be here. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do something, do it. Yeah. And, do it with your heart. So I guess, it's, we learn from each other, and I don't think that there's ever been a time where I've had a conversation with you or had a conversation with you that I didn't take something from it in a training aspect or in a mental health learning or even just a heartfelt, like I can feel the hug across the country, man. You know, I've been.
That's because our tip to tips are a little bit. They go long distance. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure we got some NC-17 content in there.
I know we got real serious, but it's not easy to do. It's not.
I was just imagining it now. So my brain is going crazy.
You see the plane
That's a win.
coming this way, and then the plane coming
going over to
this way.
Central Valley, going over, it's like
Hug and continue. But everybody in this world is dealing with trauma in some sort of way. It's dealing with COVID, dealing with loss, dealing with not being able to be with a loved one right by your bedside while you're going through double pneumonia.
Yeah.
That's freaking trauma, man. Like 1 in 4 kids that are our age have been molested.
Yeah, and nobody talked about it.
No.
In 1986.
No. Yeah.
It was like, if you brought it up, they'd be like, nah, you didn't.
Yeah.
That's
No,
just
we
boys
didn't.
being boys.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
wow.
1 in 4.
Man,
1 in 4.
It. Talk about it, man. Get it.
You know, the last time I saw you was June in 2010.
Yep.
Massachusetts at your dad's house. The reason I made that trip is because I was really having a hard time with pornography and I needed to get away from my wife and think about things. I got to see a couple of my high school friends, but about 3 months later, I went to Blue Ridge Arsenal in Virginia and I rented a nickel-plated 38 and I got a box of ammo. And I went there with the plan of shooting myself in the face.
Damn.
And I chickened out. It's kind of a funny story, but I'm saying this because you had asked what was the turning point.
Yeah.
So I had the gun in my mouth. The range master was incredible, by the way. I'm sitting there for probably 7 minutes with a gun in my mouth.
It's a long time.
And I saved 2 rounds. I don't know why 2, but he goes, hey, number 13, I think you got 2 rounds left. What's the holdup? And I was like, it was a voice from above. It was obviously speakers, a PA system. But I was like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to do this.
Wow.
But when I was that close, and that tells you how deep and bad my struggle was with pornography and how it was affecting my life at that point, that's when I was like, I got to do something different. I wasn't really able to make that adjustment to 2012. But you mentioned in suicidal ideologies, I dealt with that in a very, very real way. And I chickened out, man. You know what? After that happened, I said, this is probably going to burn my lips. And then I thought when I got in the car, I fired the last 2 rounds, got in the car, I was like, probably only for a millisecond though.
Yeah.
So
Really?
it's not going to burn long.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make fun of suicide, but I was there, man. I just wanted to answer your question of what one of the things that brought me out, but also how bad I was in struggling with that.
With depression for me, I've this week I only woke up thinking about death one time. And for me, that is such a big win. That is such a huge thing. And that's stuff that I don't tell anybody. I tell my wife that. And whether it's death, whether it's my death, whether it's somebody else's death, but I've been working and I've been reading and I've been praying. I've been doing the things that need to happen for growth and for health. So I don't know. And probably I was pretty stoked that you were coming too. So I'm
glad you're here.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm psyched to be. You don't understand. I literally watch your episodes probably 2 or 3 times. I watch the first time to get the gist, and then I bring out my journal and I start writing down. I wish I didn't think about bringing it, but I take out my journal. I start writing down the ideas that you guys kind of get me thinking about. I'm telling you, if we were to replay all your podcasts and I could just be on it, I could like narrate it. I'd be like, and this is what I would add.
You should break it up like TikTok and just pause it and just
listen to what this jackass said. No, I'm just kidding.
No, definitely
both
not.
jackasses. We're all jackasses.
I got a question for you guys. Outside of work,
He's flipping the script.
well, no, because it's
flip
important
it.
because this is going to transition, I think, nicely. And I think Jose's ready for me to start talking about my
The boot,
the boot,
the boots and the
femur
fur.
and the back and the ribs and the
apple bottom jeans and all that.
apple bottom
Yeah,
jeans.
and your
Boots with the fur.
and you got your boots on.
That's right. So outside of work and outside of this podcast, what's one thing that brings you real joy? Something that you would go out of your way to participate in? No cheating, Jose.
I guess outside of therapy and outside of the things that I do that are therapeutic, like everything I do has training value, has meaning. Everything I do.
My question?
Say it again.
What brings you joy? Skateboarding?
I can't skateboard because of my back and because of my hips and my neck.
Okay.
I haven't skateboarded since July.
I'm sorry to bring that up. I apologize.
No, well, I can answer that.
Yeah, please.
What brings me joy, man, is just because after my recovery with COVID, well, back to back double pneumonia, man, it's breathing.
Okay.
I seriously am happy I can breathe.
No, I understand. Let me tell you why I asked the question.
That's the first thing I thought about. But outside of like doing the work and the podcast,
You don't go out of your way to breathe.
Yeah.
You're going to breathe no matter what.
Well, at
so you
first I
kind of
couldn't.
skirted the question. Well, no, that's true.
I couldn't.
I'm not making light of that
No,
situation.
I couldn't. But really, what brings me joy, man, is just I really love being around my family more, being there. Just because I'm here with them and I'm not, everything's off and I'm watching TV with them. I'm there spiritually, mentally, physically, man. I'm not there just physically, man. I'm there all the way. Okay. And really that's what brings me joy, because there's nothing else that I want. Because I can do this, I can do the job, I can do everything else, I can meet new people. But if I can't do it here first behind closed door, because my belief is integrity when no one's looking, and who you are when no one is around is really who you are. And I want to be that. It starts at home with me, man. That's what brings me more joy, because I appreciated what I had when I was down, when I was in the hospital by myself. And, and I found my truest joy was being with my family, dude, because that's what drives me. That's what keeps me going. But they're the reasons why, I do what I do, of course, but overall, man, if I just had them, I'm happy. All this other stuff is a perk.
For sure. For sure.
Maybe, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah. But once Johnny answers, I'll tell you what I think, what I meant and why it's important. Yeah. Because
maybe I overthink. I do overthink a lot.
That's okay. Join the club. That's why we're here talking about our inner demons.
Answer, Johnny.
I know. My family, but serving. Yeah. Service. Before I came and got you, I made sure I went and got Joni a coffee.
And you brought me one too.
And I brought you up. But service. I got pizza.
Where's my diet?
So apparently the judgment and making people feel bad is, but
Johnny joy.
No, I mean, obviously, like spending time with Joni, spending time with my adult children, my roommates that don't pay rent, but
children.
Yeah, my children. Obviously those things bring me joy, but there's also, like I said, there's training in that. There's learning in life, like all involved in it. And like reading brings me joy.
Okay.
Music is huge in my life.
Okay.
Music.
I would have to get him to.
Music is like literally, if I didn't have, you could take my TV, you can take any TV show, you can take it all away.
Spice Girls. If you don't have Spice Girls, you're out.
Honestly, today was a Justin Bieber day. I was listening to the Biebs' new stuff. I think that he is just.
My mama don't lie.
I think that he is just. He does. I think that he is just so unbelievably good, and I don't know, especially his newer stuff, and I don't know. I don't do good with like kids singing unless I am a kid. You know what I mean? Like Joni's excited to go see the New Kids on the Block. I'm like, dude, those fools are freaking 50, boy.
They're old 50 when I was 30. They're older than that.
New Kids on the
They are from Massachusetts.
They are. I know where they're from, but I'm just saying, like.
Well, you're talking about my hometown,
right? They're not new.
Hometown, Massachusetts. You know what I'm talking about.
They're not new. They're not kids.
They're really the old weirdo dudes on the block.
Right. They're like
the old guys that need to let it go on the block.
They're like
old guys with hip replacements on the block.
Maybe they're visiting like nursing homes and stuff like that. That'd be funny.
Okay, so music. Do you want to answer again quickly? We got a time limit here. I'm pretty sure.
Music. Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't like. we buy books. I bought that Jordan Peterson book.
Nice.
I haven't read it, remember? I just haven't had time to read
So
it.
you like the Jordan Peterson?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about Tom Cruise on like Minority Report, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I listen to music, man. I do all that stuff too, but honestly, I'm really a basic dude, man. There's nothing really big or deep as far as what needs to bring me joy, man, because I live now. You know, like you guys talked about, I'm still here, man, but I want to live.
I'm thrilled that you guys at least have something on the surface to family, of course. If they don't bring you joy, get a new family.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That seems real expensive, Jeff.
Yes.
So I asked that question because for a long time, even I'll call it my recovery, not my recovery, but my mental and health, internal health. I realized that I was going through a lot of emotions, but I didn't have a good reason. Like why do I care about whether or not I'm healthy mentally? Why do I care about how I feel in my heart and who I am?
Yep.
Not for anybody else, but for me.
I understand
why is this
that.
important? And I realized that I didn't have anything that brought me joy. I was recently divorced. I was successful in business, sure, but I didn't want to be the guy that was, look at how much money I have. I mean, I purposely don't have a lot of toys, and I live in a townhouse with a roommate because I want to live below my means so that when I'm 60, I'm not still power washing houses with my crews. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to be able to kind of sit back. So my roommate, his name's Rex. I've known him for probably 12 years. And he watches these YouTube videos about paramotoring all the time. And when I got divorced in 2018 and moved in with him, I started watching these YouTube videos. I'm like, man, this looks badass. This looks like a lot of fun. Well, he's kind of an introvert. He's a quiet guy. And I knew that all he ever talked about was wanting to go there. I said, sign up for the class. I'll go with you. I was in a position financially now after my divorce and my businesses started making some good money. I said, I'll go with you. So we went and I fell in love, even though I got my ass kicked. Like I did a face plant, broke a prop, flipped a trike, did all these crazy things. I ran down a hill and skid down 100 feet on my face. It was like, and the instructor's like, you're going to be just fine because you fully commit. You'll be fine. I was like, oh yeah, great. So after the first weekend, my body was like, I couldn't even move. Like we're in the hotel room, I'm sleeping. I was like, dude, I can't even roll over. I've used muscles that I've never used before. And then it was such a rough experience. The next weekend we went for our second session. I was pretty convinced I wasn't going to like it. But we got in a few more flights and I got a few solo flights in and I was like, no question. I invested $15,000 in a bunch of gear, took 3 months for the gear to come in, got in. So anyway, long story short, I realized that I live for being up in the sky. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with paramotor, but you're literally flying a wing. It looks like a parachute, but it's wing shaped, like a glider. You see these guys that do it in the mountains and fly off the mountains and stuff. But you got a motor and a propeller on your back. I happen to fly with trike wheels because I'm an old man and I didn't want to have to run all this distance to get up in the air and then land. Plus, I had a bad experience in training doing that where I face planted and all that other stuff.
Yeah, going down the hill and stuff.
So, but that brought me so much joy. I found myself getting up at 4 a.m. to make an hour drive to the airport we fly out of, about 40 miles south on 95 on the East Coast, south of DC, which is ridiculous traffic. And then going out again at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to get down there to fly sunrise, sunset, the best time. The air is calm and clean. And I was doing that 3 times a week. I would make it a point. I would schedule my days so that I could make sure that I could go do this. And once I realized that it brought me that much joy that I was willing to carve out time to do something outside of my responsibilities. So family and stuff like that is great, but you have to find something outside of your responsibilities that brings you joy, something that brings you closer to yourself. It could be a freaking bowling league. I don't know, but something that brings out your
I would love to be in a bowling league.
Dude, taking pictures, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Photography.
There are times where I can't sleep and I told Laura I'll be back. It's like 5 a.m. because I've been up. She says, where are you going? I'm just going to go sunrise pictures. And I was out there just by myself, driving the windows down.
Have you seen some of the pictures I took on my up in the air?
That's what I'm looking at.
Oh my God, dude. You can't get a better sunrise sunset picture than being
that,
1,000 feet off the ground hanging from a string.
But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I love taking pictures, man.
Awesome.
I got the gear I have here, man. I can break it down and just go. I love taking pictures, man. It's really where I find I can sit down on my phone, on my computer, and just create. You know, that's really what I love to do, man. That brings me joy because, again, it's something that I know I'm good at. You know, because I can do everything else, but when I go take pictures and I'm by myself, you know, or shooting with the model,
just
or just
capturing the glory, man.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Street photography, anything, man. I like being out there. I really like being out. That's what brings me joy, dude. So yeah, to answer that, I mean, I got all deep and spiritual.
No, you didn't.
Family,
No, you
know?
answered the question with a legit. And I bring those two things up because if you want to talk about a hero story or an overcoming story, everything that I went through led me to the point where I had to face what was going on in here. And then once I sort of resolved some of those, and then listen, I still struggle with pornography. Like if I'm alone in a basement for 4 months because I can't walk, you know, there's not a lot to do except watch TV, read, and maybe check out some pornography.
Yeah.
And I have to make a conscious decision, even if I find myself on a page, to be like, this isn't me. I don't want this. So it's not like I'm cured, but I have reasons now that I recognize in the past not to participate in that because I know where it's going to take me.
Right.
I don't want to go back there.
Right.
You know, I don't want to go round trip to porno land. You know, I made it out of the toilet bowl into, you know, so
well, I need to get out of the toilet bowl.
I think anybody that's struggling with something in their life and wants to be an overcomer, they need to look inside of themselves and deal with the real issues and then find something that gives them a reason outside of responsibilities and brings joy into their life. Because most people, even if it's hard, are going to take care of their family. They're going to take care of their kids. They're going to go to work. You know, those are easy things. Even though being a highway patrolman and helping people on that level and dealing with tragedy and getting people through it and putting bad guys in jail or whatever you do as a cop brings you joy because you service is in your heart. So that probably does bring you joy, but you need something outside of work because work will also bring you stress. It will bring 100%. You know, small failures that you struggle with. So something that only brings you joy.
Yeah. I know for me, I mean, I don't have a responsibility to parent really anymore. Yeah. Well, you know, so I do it. So it's not my, right. It's not my responsibility. I've met my responsibilities.
Sure.
You know, and even with Joni and I've met my responsibility of being that co-parent and being the parent and being the husband and, you know, hey, we're going on a family trip and I've met those responsibilities. It brings me incredible joy. And I don't care how this sounds, but it brings me incredible joy to just do things with my wife because we are all those things. And I know it sounds cliche and it's not because the camera's on. If you were to bring her here now, she would say the same thing. Hopefully,
well, I'm just glad you said it because I was sensing a pretty tough trip home this evening that I was going to have to witness and probably defend you. No, he said it in the car before we got on the podcast.
But just our time spent together man, you go through something, go through something hard, go through a critical incident. And then once the smoke clears, look to your left and right. See who's standing next to you. See who your road dogs are. See who see who the people are ready to step in front and take a bullet for you. Look at those people.
The people you think are going to break off faster than you can blink an eye, and the people that you might have considered acquaintances who connected on you and you didn't even realize it because you weren't willing to have an open conversation will probably come out of the woodwork to help you. That's been experiencing everything that I've gone through. Like my best friends were nowhere to be found, and people that I was like somebody I worked with that worked for me's husband went out of their way to help out with things, you know. And I was like, really? Wow.
That happened to me, man. I know we noticed a lot of people that we thought we were really close to when we got sick and they didn't show up, you know, but it was the ones that I didn't know. I guess I had an impact in their life. They're like, you said this to me, you changed me. And when I found out you were down, you and your family were down, we had to be there for you. Man, we had a lot to reach out, but the people that I thought that were going to be there, like, didn't show up, you know? And this is no shade on it because I know you were dealing with your mom and all that. I got sick when this dude was out of town, and when I was down, he was dealing with a lot, you know. And so if I knew, I want to clear the air too. I know he would have been there.
Of course,
I was kind of. I mean, you were. I did a GoFundMe.
That's like that's.
Don't use them anymore, by the way.
You know, yeah, I know. We've learned. I donated to a certain website thing that went to you, but I guess they got a lot of money. So.
You're right. You find out when the dust settles. You find out who was there for you, man. And And this man was there, and a bunch of other people that we didn't think. Like you said, a bunch of people, like this guy that you said I worked or I know about that person, but he was there.
like we didn't hang out and have beers or watch football on Sundays or nothing like that. He was like literally.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. So that's another thing about going through trauma or tragedy or struggles or anything like that. It reveals to you who is worth investing in. Relationships are tough. And if they're not mutually beneficial, you're going to be either the taker or the giver. And the taker always wins and will take until you stop. And the giver always loses if there's nothing reciprocated.
Wow, that's good.
So
man.
you need to learn pretty quickly through some real conversations. And the people you want to be around, you need to know the real them and they need to know the real you. Because when the real you comes out, and people don't like that because you wore a mask the whole time or you were the funny guy and I don't want to be that funny anymore. Yeah. I just want to be me. I don't really like you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Take it or leave it.
Dude, when you said I had a flashback when finally, I would say her side, my wife's side of the family saw the real me, man, because they were pushing me to a certain point. They didn't like it, and it was real. And I don't want to get too deep in that situation. But again, you said something that made me just click the memory and a recent one and stuff. So, but real quick, Laura, I know you're sitting down listening. I want to ask you the question, what brings you joy, especially what you do here around the, you do a lot.
What brings me joy? When Jose kisses me in the morning, when Caleb gives me a hug, like a real hug.
Oh, yeah. That bear hug.
Amazing.
Just my little conversations with the girls, Caleb and Boba. And
that bubble tea.
I mean, I like to be adventurous when I can be. That makes me happy outside. Just being outside makes me happy, actually.
Yeah. That's dope.
I'm sensing her love language is affection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is.
Yes.
Okay, as long as you know that.
That's
probably in good shape.
Well, one thing, and I'm going to be 100% real. It's like I molest my wife. I'm always groping.
Thanks for bringing that back. I thought I was just open about that.
I grope her.
That's a rape, I guess. Here we are on Rape Island.
Maybe that's like a bad word to use, or but no, I always like pick on her in a good way. Is like I let her know I'm always like seriously affectionate with her.
That's great.
That.
What's your love language?
Yeah, mine. I guess I grope my wife.
Groping allowance.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Because I don't think it is. I think that I'm in that too. I don't think there's been a moment like I've been around Joni where I'm not like doing something.
Yeah, same.
Well, I'm about to visit your home, so please just refrain for a little while.
Keep it in your pants, Johnny.
That's right.
Someone's getting touched. That's all I know.
So let's get into your.
Someone's getting searched.
I was gonna say something.
Say it.
Jose's love language is like the Sour Patch candy.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then he gets
sour.
Wait, no, those are sour first. You have to get through the sour
first
shell.
Sour, then
first like sweet, and then
what's just reverse?
Then he wears you
it's
down.
Like a Starburst. Like a Starburst inside. It's like hella bitter.
Yeah.
First he's sweet, and then he wears me down.
Yeah, that's so funny. It's so funny because I am that way too.
That's awesome though. You're supposed to be like that with your wife. That's what it's about.
We have fun, man. But let's get into. Laura, feel free. Obviously, you're the director, producer. If you have something to say it. But let's get into your what is it?
Paramotoring. Powered paragliding or paramotoring.
Power paragliding.
Paramotor pilot.
Paramotor.
Yep.
And how, like, again, you got into a little how you got into it, but let's talk about the injury now. Okay. What happened?
So it was I think my log said it was like my 50th or 55th flight, solo flight. So it's kind of the danger zone because people start to get a little too cocky when they get that many flights in. They're not ready to do stuff. Now, I wasn't doing acrobatics or anything stupid. I was flying in a field that we fly in all the time. So I had flown. I went out real early, and I'd flown for about 2 hours and landed. It was a cold morning, so my hands were super cold. I wasn't wearing gloves or a good jacket, so I was a little bit chilly. Rex, my roommate, comes in after I land, and he says, I just got here. Do you want to go back up? I said, I got 45 minutes of fuel. I'll go back up. My hands are really cold. So we take off. We go fly around this field. It's called Sherwood Forest Farm. And the farmer there loves the paramotors. We zip around his cornfields. He had just...
Probably gets rid of all the crows and stuff like that.
I don't know what it does, but he's always out there waving on his tractor. Hey, I mean, he might be flipping. I was like, get out of here. But
Does he really like
this
you?
guy's super friendly.
Does he
He's
really-
buzzing foot, dragging his corn, kicking ears of corn. Are you bratty kids? Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
45 minutes worth of fuel.
So Rex and I are kind of zipping
That's
around.
not
We're
the
doing some
farmer.
low flying, but nothing crazy, nothing I'd never done before. We foot drag the corn. We fly through his little cleared out roads in between the corns up here, and we're down close to the ground zipping around. I mean, it's great. He's got some trees in there, and we slalom through the trees. And then if you go to the far side of his property, he's got like these old abandoned houses, and way behind his property, there's an old abandoned Renaissance festival. So they got all this crazy. It's crazy, dude.
They do like LARPing and stuff.
They used to. It's all
LARPing, bro.
overgrown now. You just fly over
Did
it.
you see-
LARPing, live action role play.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my life. I'm in a LARP.
Okay, my son's gonna be a LARPer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, we'd only been up for probably 15 minutes. It's literally 3 miles southeast of the
And how
airfield.
high were you at this time?
So I had at this distance, I was probably about 60 feet. Yeah, and that's not really low.
It's high still.
Dude, we fly up to like 2,800 feet is the highest I've
Holy
been.
hell.
And you can go up to 10,000 legally as long as you're not
Holy
in a
hell.
major airway. Like I'm coming in and once we get to 10,000 feet, we'll shut off the Wi-Fi automatically. Thanks for flying Delta.
Captain's
And I'm
log.
thinking 10,000 feet. Holy crap, this thing could run me down in a second. And I wouldn't even see it coming if it was behind me.
Jeez, that's
So, but anyway, it's fun. It's fun. So we're flying around this field, and I'm over down by the kind of rundown old abandoned houses and stuff. And I make a lazy. So first of all, on a paramotor, you have two types of steering. You have wingtip steering, which just controls. I don't know if you see my hands on the thing. Just the edges like this, so you can turn pretty good. And then you have the full-on brake controls, which changes the aspect of the wing. You can turn with that as well. So flying probably below 60 feet, it would have been better to be on the brakes, but I was doing the wingtips.
Yeah.
So I take a lazy left-hand turn, and then I come back around to the right. Well, when I come back around to the right, the wind was behind me, and it pushed my wing forward. So I'm literally looking at the ground. Now, my turn to the right, to be honest, was a little more aggressive with the wingtip steering. Once I realized I was looking straight at the ground, I dropped my wingtip steering and try to grab my brakes. And simple fix at 60 feet, maybe 50 feet at this point, is to just pull on your brakes a little bit. The wing comes back and just climb right out.
Yeah.
The problem was my hands were cold. I didn't feel the right brake slip out of my hand. So when I went like this, I ended up in a hard right flat spiral straight into the ground. Now, my equipment is made out of 2-inch square tube steel. When I hit the ground, first of all, about 15 seconds before I hit the ground, when I said, please let me live. I was just a quick prayer up to God, hoping that he saved my life because this was going to be bad. I was doing, with the pendulum action of turning and my airspeed, I was estimated around 55 to 60 miles an hour. And I flew literally straight into the ground. The trike, you have these two little pegs on the front that you put your feet on, and so you can steer the wheel, but your throttle control and everything's in your hands.
Yeah.
So I thought I had my brakes on. I full throttle so I can adjust my thing. And so I'm full throttle into the ground. The 2-inch square tube trike that my feet are resting on snaps off. Stainless steel, 2-inch square tube, serious piece of equipment. And then my legs follow and bury straight into the ground. I knew that when my right leg kicked me in the forehead in my helmet from a seated position, it wasn't going to be pretty.
Jeez.
So I tumbled. The first thing I remember after the quick prayer was hearing that, which was my prop shredding into a million pieces. They're carbon fiber props, and I'm thinking, crap, that's $400. That's
You're already counting costs.
I was counting the dollars.
Yeah.
It's a $15,000 loss. Excuse me. So I flip a few times, and I end up kind of laying on my back a little bit upside down, about 45 degrees.
Ooh.
I take off my helmet. Now I have my phone. I rigged this little contraption where I have my phone for my GPS and my air nav and all that other stuff. And and if I want to take a picture, I've got a lanyard. I can take some photos or whatever. I also have GoPro, but my GoPro didn't work. So I took it off on my first flight. The battery was dead. I wish I'd had it because I'd have learned a lot from it. But so I land, I take off my helmet. My roommate Rex is zipping around the same field. He sees me take the helmet off and he goes, "Oh, Jeff's okay." But he knew my equipment was shredded because he could see it. I'm strapped in it upside down thinking, okay, I need a new prop for sure. I need to new everything. So he flies back to the airport to get my pickup truck to pick up all my gear. I'm laying in the grass. My right leg, about 8 inches above the knee, is pointed this direction. and my left foot is flipped upside down and pointed this direction. Oh. So I'm thinking, oh, this ain't going to be good. My back hurts and my rib hurts a little bit. So I call 911 myself. I try to explain the situation to the lady. She's like, you crashed an airplane? I was like, no, it's not a plane. It's really more of a backpack situation with a motor and a prop and in a parachute. She goes, are you on fire? I'm like, no, it's not.
God, I'd love to get a copy of that.
She goes, how are you so calm right now, sir? And I was like, well, I did it to myself. Who am I going to be mad at?
Yeah.
So she starts laughing.
This thing called shock.
And I said, listen, my leg is 90 degrees out of the right position. I'm pretty sure it's a comminuted fracture. She goes, how do you know about comminuted fracture? I said, I was in the Navy. We train all this stuff.
Yeah.
I said, I don't think it's compound, and I don't think I severed any arteries, but I am wearing jeans, and I can't really move around to see underneath. She goes, all right, we'll roll the medics. I said, and my left ankle is either severely dislocated or completely shattered because it's upside down and pointed to the right as well. She goes, any other injuries? I said, I may have some fractures in my back or maybe just pulled some muscles. I'm prone to back spasms, and then my ribs hurt. 44 minutes I'm on the phone because I'm in this field in a farm. Yeah. I told her, I'm 3 miles east of Shannon Airport in Sherwood Forest Farms. She's like, oh, okay. I'm upside down looking at the freaking ambulance roll by me. They just passed me. Tell them to turn around and take the next left. They just passed me again the other way.
Wow.
So finally they get there and they drive through the field. And the first thing the medic said is like, oh, your leg's going to require some work. I was like, am I going to keep him? Will I walk? He goes, I can't really make that determination.
Yeah, they're always so quick to give you a quick assessment. Oh yeah, man, you're really
screwed.
Yeah,
I don't know how bad though. Yeah. Thanks, that's encouraging.
Yeah, you're probably gonna need 72. 72. I don't know. You're gonna die. You know that, right? You're probably gonna die.
I told him. I said, listen, don't sugarcoat it. I'm a grown man. I know I screwed myself up good here. Just what's going to take? And he's like, yeah, you're going to need a couple of surgeries for sure. Mm-hmm. So then they started loading me up with fentanyl.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And pumping me. I was like, I don't want to OD. He's like, oh, no, you're not going to OD. And he's like, although we have given you a lot and you're still pretty lucid, that means your body's messed up, dude. I was literally having a conversation. State police come up. We're going to have to report this to the FAA. I was like, no, you don't. I said, this is not an FAA licensed aircraft. It's, I wasn't breaking any rules. He goes, all right, then good luck. They roll me to the hospital. I tell the guys, listen, just please take it easy on the bump. My legs aren't really so good. He goes, all right. He yells to the driver, take it easy. We're going for comfort, not speed. The guy peels out of there 100 miles an hour. And I'm like, I'm getting
we got this, bro.
I'm like, oh my God, you're killing me. And the guy's like, don't worry about it. It fills me up with Dilaudid this time. I was like, oh my God, I am going to be a friggin' meth addict by the time I get out of this thing.
More of a heroin thing.
Well, whatever. Meth is cheaper. I don't know. I don't know anything about that scene. So whatever. Get them both.
I can give you a
You can give me some?
No, I can give you a training on.
Do you have some other issues we need to talk about?
No, I teach the state.
So anyway, so that was it. I go to the hospital. I don't really have a say. The first thing that crosses your mind when you get thrown in an ambulance is not, please take me to a Cigna insurance qualified hospital so that my insurance will pay for it. So they roll me into Mary Washington Hospital in Fredericksburg. Everybody in there is looking at me like horrified faces. And I'm thinking, will you guys stop doing that? I know it's bad, but you're freaking me out. Here's some more Dilaudid. Don't worry about it. So I'm starting to feel a little bit woozy. Next thing you know, my jeans, by the way, they rolled me out of there almost naked. They cut off my jeans and cut off half my underwear. So I'm like.
Fun fact about going into a critical care unit, they always check you.
Well, I didn't. Yeah.
No, they do.
The Dilaudid was,
they'll put you on your side and they check you for any hemorrhaging in your booty hole.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that I didn't feel it. Or maybe they skipped that step. I'm going with they skipped the step.
I kind of stayed. I was like, hey, can we do another one? Or are we?
If I didn't feel it, maybe
where's that doctor at? Send that doctor back over here.
Light that candle real quick.
I don't remember that.
You guys are too much. Or maybe I blacked it out. Too much trauma from early childhood.
Were you when it happened and you're on the phone, you didn't feel no pain?
Zero pain.
Jeez.
That's why they're pumping me up. I'm like, I'm fine. I don't feel it. They're like, oh, it's going to wear off. It's going to wear off. The worst pain that I felt is so here's what I did. I knew enough that when you break your femur, you have to kind of get it straight and stretch it out because the muscles want to shrink it up and then you end up with a leg that's 2 inches short and you're walking crazy for the rest of your life.
You got to get this.
So I literally am sitting in my harness. I gather my leg up and I'm like, oh, that hurt a little bit. And I'm holding it like this when I'm on the phone actually I put the phone on the ground. Sorry, microphone. Put the phone on the ground and I'm talking on speakerphone with 911. When they went to stabilize my leg to move me from the ground to the ambulance, they had to take this aluminum ladder looking thing. And the guy grabs my foot and goes, and then shoves this thing up under my butt. And I was like, "Wah!" And he goes, yeah,
Dang.
that's
Give
the
you
worst
more
bit.
Dill on it.
Yeah, seriously. I don't even know how much it was, but I get into the critical care portion of the hotel. And of course, they're doing all this stuff. And, they take off they go, this is going to hurt. We're going to take off this brace and we're going to wrap it in cardboard so we can get you over to a CT scan and all this MRI and CAT, whatever.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
So she yanks my leg. And while she does that, some other dude I didn't even know was there takes my foot and goes, I reduced the ankle too. I figured we'd do a twofer. And I'm just going, actually, that feels much better now. Like when it was upside down and sideways, any little movement was like, it kind of hurt. But they yanked on that thing and put it back. I had surgery on my femur the next day. It was, I think, 4.5 hours. They took a titanium rod. They go up underneath the kneecap and they bore a hole in your femur or what's left of it. And you saw the pictures.
Yeah, I'm looking right at them.
So my femur broke into about 5 pieces. And there was a really long piece here this is the one that bothers me the most. But it's all grown back now pretty well. I got full weight bearing on this. But anyway, so get the surgery on the femur. That's taken care of. I got titanium rod from my knee to my hip. He said the impact was a direct impact like this. So it was a compression fracture.
Yeah.
It traveled all the way up my leg through my knee and exploded my.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't a side impact because you'd have a clean break. But this thing is in like 5 or 6 pieces or whatever. He's like, so we can't put it back. It's called an open reduction internal fixation, which means they try to address the bones as much as they can, but they didn't do anything to the bones. They just inserted the rod, aligned my hip and my knee, and let the bones kind of sit where they fell. So now I'm going to have like a 4-inch femur. So he's like, you'll never break that femur again. You're titanium enhanced and it's going to be calloused over with like 4 inches of, I'm like, great. Ankle, that thing exploded. I have what's called a Tailless neck fracture. So there's like a bone. The Tailless is the bone in your ankle that your shin attaches to.
Yeah.
And it's the head. And then there's a piece that sticks out like this called the neck. I broke the Tailless neck into 8 pieces, shattered it. They put it all together with, I think, 3 or 4 screws. I can't
Is
remember.
this it right here?
Yeah.
That's,
Holy moly.
I think that's the second x-ray after, I'm not sure. If you see the screws, there I am with my hoodie and my beard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's insane, man.
Yeah.
How's that? Like, how has been your recovery after?
So
because you walked in, you had your crutch.
Yeah.
You just kind of
not supposed to put more than 50% weight on my foot, but it doesn't hurt. And they say you can do it to pain tolerance. I've got the metal fixtures in there that'll keep it together. The problem I'm having now is that, well, first of all, the fact that my femur is where it is, the doctor's like, that's amazing. Its bone has grown back tremendously. My ankle's not healing as well, and it's the same body.
Yeah.
So they have concerns about what's called avascular necrosis, which means the blood supply is not getting to the area that the bones need to heal, and the bone is starting to die off. So they want to do another surgery, which is it's called autograft. They're going to take a piece of bone from either my hip or my shin and sprinkle some magic fairy dust into the areas that aren't healing, and then hope that takes. And then the next step would be either a partial or a full fusion. I see a specialist on the 28th and he's going to tell me. That was kind of a hit to me, dude, because I was like walking around. I can drive. I can, I can fly from Virginia to Salt Lake City to Fresno and not have any issues. Although, let me tell you, don't ever fly without a freaking boot and a crutch. They make it super easy.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah. So
he has a funny story about going through TSA and like his crutch or his cane versus like what TSA deciphered as being dangerous. So
Really?
we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway.
But let's finish that. Like now, like again, you said you can't you're not supposed to put more than 50% of your weight, but you feel fine.
Yep. And there's other things going on, like in my heel. It's called the calcaneus for all of you medical nerds. It's called disuse osteopathy, which means because I'm not using the bone and having impacts on it, that bone is starting to get brittle, like osteoporosis in old age.
Yeah.
But it's called disused osteopathy. And so they want to do some grafting and try and redo some things in my ankle. So I'm seeing a really good specialist that came recommended from my 3rd doctor now, because I'm getting a whole bunch of opinions, because I don't want to go through 5 surgeries. I would rather just amputate it below the knee and give me one of those crazy flexy things and I'll be fine. People run marathons on those things and don't really complain. I guess the chafing would be tough, but I don't know. I just want to be done with it. I want to get back to work. I want to get back to flying. I want to get back to living life.
So you want to go back up on that thing again?
You're gonna go back up,
Dude, didn't I just tell you it's the first thing that I found that really brought me joy? Why would I give up something that I know brings me so much joy in here?
off of human error, basically. Just
It was 100% human error. If I was flying with my freaking hands in the brakes, I wouldn't be on a podcast right now talking about being an idiot when I was 12. You know what I mean? So thank God I crashed.
you got a lot of perspective, man.
Yeah.
That's insane, though, man. Because I'm looking at like, dude, you're like
It'd be
this.
difficult to support.
If you go on my TikTok, there's a video with me in that tan sweater. That's me flying. Yeah, my dad says, you don't look too happy in that. I was like, because it was freezing.
You look like you're in pain.
Dude, you're high. How high are you right here?
There I was about 1,200 feet.
Oh my God, that's insane. As we're talking, this video's gonna be up.
Yeah, that was in training. That's in Ona, West Virginia.
That's
Do
training.
you have an iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have this video?
Probably.
Yeah, somewhere.
If not, I've got it on Google Drive somewhere.
Okay, I'll text you or email me because as we're talking, I want to put the video over. So
What I'll do is I'll just give you permission on my Google Drive for all those photos and all that.
okay,
other stuff.
I know Johnny sent me some pictures too, but dude, that is insane.
Dude, it's so amazing. This
I
is
bet.
probably my 10th training flight.
Bro, I mean, I just liked it too. By the way,
Cool.
You're above the clouds.
You're number 7.
You're
7
above
on
the
life.
freaking clouds.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a great video where we fly down to Port Royal.
There it is.
Yeah, we fly down to Port Royal, and there's like this big car bridge. It's like got big arches and stuff. Now I don't fly under bridges. There are guys that do that and
Sketch.
foot drag, and I'm like, nah, dude, you missed that by 4 inches and you're dead.
Sketch,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
trying to kill myself. I mean, I try to kill myself, but I'm not trying to be successful. You know?
I'm not. Yeah.
So
I just want to hurt myself real bad.
everyone said, have you had surgery before? I was like, no. I was like, boy, you did it right.
Yeah.
For your first
You
time,
went
you
all
went
in.
big. Yeah.
You went in.
Good one. Shut up.
I will tell you.
Talk to me like that. I'll give you a slap.
Come on.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story, and it's a little bit spiritual. But I was in the rehab hospital. So I was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks, and I was in a rehab hospital for 10 days. And about my 3rd day in the rehab hospital, it was like 2:00 in the morning, and this nurse, I don't know if she was a nurse or a CNA or an assistant or a tech or what, she comes into my room, and she's a beautiful girl, too young for me, but she was beautiful, and she said, I'm sorry to disturb you. I couldn't really sleep. You know, I can't move my body. I'm sitting on my back, and I'm thinking, oh, this is the worst. You know, she goes, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I just wanted to come in and meet the miracle.
Oh.
And I was like, the what? She goes, the miracle. You're a miracle. And I was like, what? She goes, you probably won't see me again because I don't normally work on this side of the unit, but I just wanted to say God's got big plans for you. And I was like, what? So 20 minutes later, my nurse comes in to give me meds. I reloaded on meds at like 9 p.m. Every 6 hours. And it was like 9 p.m. and then 3 a.m. She comes in. I said, who was that nice nurse that just came in? She goes, I'm the only one working the shift.
Really?
And I was blown, dude. I was like, okay, so this injury and this situation, I need to be positive about it because something's coming out of all this. And maybe this is it. I don't know. I hope you guys get 1 trillion views on this
That'd be dope.
episode. I mean, I know you're going to get at least one. We'll see how stupid I sound.
No, you're good. Yeah. One thing I love about, like you're willing to go back up there. My daughter,
crazy.
My 15-year-old is like, Dad, I want that pit in my stomach, because she wants to do the skydiving. She wants to go on the crazy rides, and you're going to go back up there again. How soon do you think you'll be able to?
As soon as I can afford another 15 grand for equipment.
Oh, okay.
Actually, my motor is good, I think.
You can rebuild
but
it.
all of my frame, and I think I'm probably going to replace my wing. The wings are $4 grand.
Oh.
Well, I'm willing to spend a little more on a wing than I am a motor because the wing is what's going to get you up and down safely. If the motor dies, you can still land. It's really safe. You know what the number one reason people die in paramotor? Drown.
What?
They fly over water and they have a motor out and they can't land anywhere and they sink and they drown. It pulls them in.
Well, can't they just unclip the...
You say that like it's easy.
I would assume.
When you're about to crash in the water, you're panic stricken and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like a 5-point harness.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's not like a race car 5-point harness where you just go and everything comes off. It's literally like these little clips that you go in. I have flotation on mine because I like to fly over the Potomac River and head over to Eastern Shore, Maryland, and all that stuff. So
That sounds dope, though, man.
dude, it's amazing. Check out my TikTok, Just a Guy, Jeff.
Yeah, we'll follow.
Yeah.
We'll have all your social media in the
Yeah.
description, even popping up when we're talking the whole time.
Yeah.
You've seen it, But I don't know, man. Let's get into just, you want to start living. You said, I'm still here, but I want to start living. Where do you see yourself now after your recovery? Where do you feel like you want to grow? Where do you feel like you need to improve? What do you think? Let's talk about that.
I mean, growth and improvement is a day-to-day thing. If I'm not growing a little bit each day, and let's just say this, there's days where you take a little step back, but you got to make up for that, a few days down the road or whatever. But I'm a big believer in writing down your goals.
Yep.
I'm a big believer in trying to be the guy you say you want to be, fake it till you make it almost, speak things into existence. I think those are all things. There's power in life and death is in the power of the tongue. And if you live in the negativity of your past, that's who you're going to remain. If you flip the script and learn from the negativity of your past and find out how you can make small changes, they don't have to be immediate big changes. I want to grope my wife every single day. Just start with tomorrow. Just start with tomorrow. If you can grope her tomorrow, 2 more days, you'll be more likely to do it again.
Rinse and repeat, man.
Yeah, they say it takes 30 days to make a new habit, I think. I'm not the So
That's cool. I like your mindset on that. Yeah, because I do agree, man. You saying that, because we just started going back to church. But this pastor had used, or his message, he's an example. He like the Bible is like the ultimate motivational Bible, or like the book you'll ever need, and throw out all your other motivational books. There's no other motivation but God. And I agree to that, man, to a certain extent, man. But when you hear people's story, when you hear guys like you tell us what you talked about, man, that only motivates me more, man, because I do feel like, because I did have experiences in the hospital when I was sick, nurses that were just blessings and angels to me, man, because 2, 3 in the morning, I'm there just laying there on my stomach because that's the only way I know I can breathe right. They'll just come in, pray for me, man, and touch my foot, and I just hear, this little 3-foot, Mexican grandma, man, just older lady, just praying in Spanish, dude. And, and I feel like when people use what negativity happened to them or just like the worst case scenario happened to them and use it to speak life and to tell their story, man, I feel like that's the best motivation because anybody watching and listening, I know they're getting something out of it because it's really changing me, dude, because I have this huge perspective on, I'm not going to take no one's story away. I'm not going to, when this pastor said that, I know his heart was like, you don't need 10 steps to be successful. You don't need, no, you do.
You might need 15.
Yeah. I understand the God's word. I understand all that. I understand, he's our everything, man. But I feel like we need each other.
For sure.
We need, as human beings, we need each other, man, because we're here now, and what I'm getting from you, man, is it's a powerful story, man. It's very inspirational because, from going to your childhood, mentioning what you've gone through, all the decisions, all the stuff that's happened, the decisions and, and addiction and
the consequences.
Yeah.
That's something nobody ever talks about is like,
well, that's
consequences
true
behind it.
Because again, that's showing me every day that, man, I still got to check a lot of things. When we started this show, we were like, I'm not here to start something new. I'm not here to try to be the big inspirational, motivational guy. We just want to relate to human beings.
You guys are the best at that.
Appreciate that because there's no other, because that's why I believe, like Johnny says all the time, we are the #1 podcast, man, because we're going to run with that, man, because we are, because the connections we're making, man, are guys like you that can tell your story, from Virginia and be like, you're over here in Fresno.
But I'm nobody.
No, you are somebody.
I am somebody, but I'm nobody important. I'm just a guy. That's why that's the humbling experience about this. If you go into this cocky and think, I'm going to overcome. All I got to do is face my demons and be accountable and find something that makes me joy. It's a 3-step process.
Yeah.
I'm here. I've arrived.
Yeah.
You're done.
Why do we always go to like the angry Southerner when we do an invitation?
Man, did I sound like a Southerner? I do no accent there. I live in Virginia too.
Well, that's so true. I mean, I can agree with you because I do feel that way about this show. You know, I understand the clout it brings. I understand the attention it brings, man. But one thing I love about you and what you're saying, you know, we are just average guys, man. But our stories and our experiences are what makes us big. Because what I choose to be is better than I was an hour ago, a day ago, yesterday. And I don't let my past hold me back. I don't let my bad decisions hold me back, man, because it's actually holding me back from a better future.
Yep.
You know, and even if the future is an hour from now, you know, and so I've learned now to weigh what's ahead by living right now. If I live, you know, in my shame, if I live in my guilt, man, that's what I know my future will be.
100%.
You know, and I don't want to live like that because I know where it took me. I know what it did there. It hurt me. It hurt my family. It hurt our marriage. It hurt relationships, man, because I lived in that guilt, even when people put that stuff on you. You know, and so when it comes down to it, man, what your story is doing, man, it's bringing more attention to myself. Where am I slacking? Where do I need to keep growing? You know, addressing the issue. You know, that's really what I'm getting from all this. And then, like you said, like Johnny said,
I get that a lot. Just coming here, I get that. I get that from you. That's one of the biggest things. One of the biggest joys I have is healing.
Yeah,
is getting better. And you know, I feel like that. We are supposed to make each other better, stronger. We're supposed to make each other better dads, husbands, you know, friends.
If the three of us and anybody else that comes on the show and understands the concept can get joy from doing that, man, how
that's
amazing
huge.
Would that be?
It really is.
My only goal to like for this, man, is to inspire that, you know. And again, it's going to start at home. Yep. It's going to start with our family.
So I was watching an episode and I don't remember the context, but you were talking about how it grows and starts at home.
Yeah.
And if you look at how change occurs, it's in the home, then it's in your community.
Yeah.
Then it's in, you know, and it spreads from there. If you don't start at home, you're biting off way more than you can chew.
Yeah.
No one goes from podcast to president of the United States. They go from podcast to, you know, getting a following, not because it's a cult or not but because you guys offer value. And if I could offer any value just being on this show, it sounds like I may have done a little. I've succeeded for you anyway. Johnny's looking at me like I got 3 highs and a big zit on my forehead. I don't know. Do I?
Nope. No,
Okay,
you're good.
all right, good.
I'm just listening.
But change has got to happen little by little.
Yeah.
And it has to stem from honesty. And if you can't be honest with yourself, then you'll never be honest with anybody.
Let's go.
That's huge.
That's so true, man.
Just in speaking, I'm part of like our love for Tom Brady.
Who doesn't love Tom Brady?
Exactly.
Haters.
Yeah. And by
What
the
are
way,
you
Tom,
talking
you are
about?
always invited on the show.
I'm an OG
haters.
Tom Brady fan.
Look at it. You're like, go to one. Haters. Haters hate on Tom. They just.
Don't you dare hate on Tom.
Tom Brady should have won MVP, not Aaron Rodgers.
Tom
say
Brady,
that.
he's retired next year. He'll win MVP.
He'll still.
How do you a person that retired? How could he win MVP? Well, it's Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady.
But his dad says in an upcoming. My buddy sent me a clip of.
I saw it, but I didn't watch it. But
I've watched it already, and he just talks about his dad's take on Tom and all the adversity he's gone through. And he says, tough times don't last, tough people do. That's exactly what this is.
100%.
And 98% of the people that come on the show and talk and just share their life with us is, and I was looking for that quote. I wasn't ignoring any of the conversation, but
I didn't feel slighted.
okay. But I mean, whenever I do that, I'm typically looking for a quote or something, but
I know, I've seen the podcast.
okay. Yeah. Johnny can't put his phone down.
No, I know what you're saying, man. And I was watching this documentary on Netflix. His Neymar.
Oh yeah.
And, he has, and it reminded me of the show. He has this tattoo on his leg saying that there's a 1% chance, you know, for success, but there's 99% faith, you know. And I feel like the faith we have to grow this and connect with people is what's going to be on our side, man. Because we have guests like you that come flying, from the other side of the nation, man, to come chill with your boy, be on the pod and tell your story. Because I've heard nothing but great things about you, man. Every time we've talked, and he was telling me
Johnny's
about
a liar.
I am not.
This podcast has proven that you're not, or he's not.
Okay.
So you're good, man.
Oh, you told him all the bad stuff then. Great.
See, Jeff is he's deflecting. Right now. He's deflecting.
He's a deflector.
Let me take off my mask.
Yeah. See, but no, I 100% love the fact that we connect, man. And whereas a lot of shows, and this is what irks me, I'm gonna get on my soapbox real quick, man. This is what irks me about anybody that just starts a podcast, because it's a trend. We talk about this all the time, and it's not a creative culture. It's nothing stupid like that, man. We are legit wanting to connect with real businesses, real people, man, because that's all. Social media, man, is like the best thing ever to happen to human society, man. It really has, because you're so attention whoring, all this other stuff. Look at me. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you know how to utilize it as a tool, you can actually connect, with people. And we have, and that's one thing I pride myself is that we legit connect. My wife knows me. I love to connect and relate to people. Yeah. Because what I've learned when I was down, I think I've said this is like almost 400 people text DM me when I was down. They text me and call me. I didn't realize that many people liked me, and I knew all these people, I'm serious. And then it all came down to Jose. We had a friend over before, and when this was like, I was already home after the second time, and he was talking. It was like 2 a.m. in here. He's like, Jose, you connected with me and related to me, man. And when I found out you were down, I wanted to pay that back.
Awesome.
And so when it comes down to this, that's really what I pride myself on, with doing this show, man, because again, we're bringing on average guys that can do great things and connect with, a lot of people. And that's what makes us so successful, man, because we're barely in our second month, 3 months now doing this. And, the reaction and the connection we're getting is amazing, because again, I look for real growth, not hype growth, real growth, man, the growth that people don't want to face because, my son's at this growing pains in his life, but he's growing. There's a lot of things that I need to fix that I know I need to grow and still not at 40 years old, and I'm not going to deny that. And your story now has helped me grow.
Awesome.
It really has. Because again, people that are watching and listening right now, I guarantee you they're going to be like, yeah, he says he's just an average guy. So am I. So just imagine when the average guy steps out and does above average things. That's what I want to pull out of people.
One of the things here's another realization I came to, like most of my life, things were easy for me. And it wasn't till I had to go through struggles and be honest with myself about them that I was able to accomplish anything and put in hard work and feel validated in myself. So if things are super easy for you, hey, maybe that's your path and congratulations, you had no struggle. But if you want to appreciate it that much more, take a step out of your comfort zone and try to accomplish something that makes you uncomfortable.
That's what's up. There's a friend of mine who made this song called Stronger by The Struggle. And like I told you, remember, it's like, man, if this podcast or anything gets easy for me in life, I stop doing the easy. I need to look for something that's going to challenge me and grow me. If I'm not being challenged, dude, I'm not growing. I don't want to stay stagnant, man, because I want to test my limits. I want to, especially almost coming off dying with my double pneumonia. It's like, I wasted so much energy and time on stuff that I didn't need, to waste. And now that I'm after and I have my second chance, third chance, I'm like, I revamped everything and where my time and, creativity and everything should go into, man, especially with my family. My son's getting into stop motion more. My daughter wants to get into that. So my time needs to pour into them, as a father. And before me be on a computer changing lives, editing podcasts, my son would come and show me his work. I'm like, that's good, man.
Yeah.
And just shut him off. And I can see in my, my subconscious mind when I was in the hospital, I was like, I can see my son walk away just.
Every moment's an opportunity. Are you going to waste it or are you going to capitalize on it?
And I wasted so much.
We all did. But you realize that now and you're going to be better at not wasting opportunities.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like the growth has happened.
100%.
And so I feel like, man, dude, I feel like we've talked about a lot. I mean, if there's anything you want to ask this guy, you guys need to catch up. Let's go into it. But You know, we give these you've given a lot of great words, man, and you know how the show ends. You know how we close it out. But anybody listening and watching, man, what's your last word? What's your last message? What's your last connection? You know, and anything, man, that you want to tout people.
I think I've said enough, man. I really do. I'm not on a soapbox. I'm not on a high horse. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm speaking only from experience, and I hope that somebody somewhere can take bad decisions that I've made and been able to sort of turn around. And it doesn't have to be the same decision. You know, it may not be the same struggle.
Yeah.
But just take a look at your life and make some small changes. Small changes will beget larger changes because you'll start to enjoy life on a level that maybe wasn't possible because you're in your own way. And I just want people to get out of their own way, man. That's all I want. I was in my way for so long. And it's just sad to think about 35 years of my life. I was an asshole. I'm surprised. Look, almost everybody from the first 35 years of my life is gone. I have a very small circle. And part of me keeps it that way intentionally because not everybody is worthy to know my story. Because I don't know what they're going to invest in me or if they're worth investing in, you know? So it's important to tell it. And this is kind of a safe place to do it because I'm not face to face with anybody. So they're either going to get it or not. They're not going to be like, you ass, you know, you're such a jerk. You know, maybe they will. They'll start going, oh yeah, I got your YouTube channel, jackass.
Yeah.
See, going back to the angry Southerner.
Yeah.
I got your YouTube channel, you son of a bitch, man.
Guy or what?
I will tell you something about Johnny because, and he may have made.
Oh, you're going to use your last words to talk about me. There we go.
Johnny and I were fast friends, immediate friends, and I probably roped him into some stupid stuff. And he went along because, you know, who doesn't want to go along with just a guy?
Yeah.
But I know this about Johnny. He loves his wife and his kids. Would do anything for him. I know this about Joni because I talked to Joni on Facebook. He's not on Facebook. He's an Instagram guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody that they seem to hang out with, just based on photos and comments. I mean, I kind of cyber stalk you from across the country.
It's so hot.
Because
Still in your life,
yeah,
man. You don't even know it.
Yeah, that's right. You don't know it. But like,
There's nothing you can say that I don't already know. So.
I knew that about you.
I know.
But you know, I love your family. I love the freedom you gave your kids to become their own people. I'm so glad, and this is going to sound weird, that you went through the tree branch issue. Because you were able to slow down and learn some things about yourself that you knew needed to be changed.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you met Jose and got this podcast, involved in this podcast. And I think both of you guys have so much to offer. And I'm so glad that you let me be. It was kind of a surprise. You know, I didn't intend to come here this weekend. I intended to come on the 26th for the launch party.
Yeah.
And yeah, so here I am. But, and I can't make it for the launch party, by the way. I don't know if I can go through that trip one more time.
It's all good, man.
But anyway, I just want, if no one said it out loud or on this podcast for everybody to hear, I'm a huge fan. I follow you guys everywhere. I try to communicate with Jose, but apparently he's too cool for school. I get
my bad.
Cool.
Dude.
Thumbs up.
My bad, dude.
Winky face, which I'm still trying to figure
Thanks,
out.
bro.
You know?
Not even a thanks, bro. Okay, cool.
Oh, man.
I think I did look forward to meeting you, which is nice. Probably changes my happiness.
I'm like, what's up? I'm going to tell you the whole story.
But these guys are doing something real. There's nothing fake about you. There's nothing, you know, contrived. You guys don't have a script. Like I was like, what do you guys want to talk about? Like whatever comes up, we're just going to converse. And that's what it's been. Yeah. So I love the format. I was a little skeptical, but man, I hope this thing blows up, and I hope more and more people outside of the Central Valley. I mean, #1 in the Central Valley, but I hope that this grows.
Yeah. What are you doing?
It's hot.
She's saying cut.
No,
I thought that's what she was saying. I thought she was saying that. Hey,
no, go ahead.
It's hot.
You're
Turn
blowing
the
up their heads.
AC
Slow
on.
it down.
What about you, Johnny? There is no rush to close this unless you guys got to go.
I was
But
just
I'm
getting
gonna turn
hot.
this on.
No more motorcycle trips from Salem, Massachusetts to Millinocket, Maine.
right? That was fun.
Catching on fire.
I think that. Yeah. Oh man. Joni said, "There's no compassion without suffering," and you know, I just. That's a quote that she has said that I've literally written down in several different places, and not that I need to have compassion for any of us, but it helps, and with that comes more of an understanding of trauma. And man, I don't regret anything. You asked me a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you freaking, you freaking shook me. And I don't.
This guy.
I don't regret it. I don't, because who I am now and who I'm turning into and what I'm learning about myself, the RPMs and the speed, I want that to balance out, and I'm not glad that things happened, but they needed to happen. They needed to happen so that I could be here, to still be here. And compassion, there's no compassion without suffering. Those are my last words, my wife's words.
I have one regret. It was that 2-liter bottle of Purple Passion over by that lake house.
You probably shouldn't have drank that.
That was terrible.
That's probably like
I didn't know
an
that 2
entire
liters of Purple
chapter of a
Passion could
book.
turn into 10 liters of vomit. I had no idea.
It's incredible.
The more you know, man.
I was
Yeah.
like The Exorcist, but
I
purple.
think right after that happened, we watched one of my buddies kick a bucket. I guess he was mad or something.
it's so
he
hazy.
kicked a bucket and it was full of cement.
Really? Bust his toe?
A little bit.
Oh my God.
Thank God I broke my ankle paramotoring as opposed to kicking a cement bucket. I felt like a jackass. What'd you do? I kicked a bucket. I'm overcomer. Doesn't
Here
quite
we,
have the same ring.
here we are at 18 laughing at this dude for kicking a cement bucket, right? Little did he know. Joke's on you.
And after that, we went to one of the 2 restaurants in downtown Millinocket. It was either
Yeah.
Subway or McDonald's.
Yeah.
$1.69.
Well, there was
cold cut
there were
combo.
other places. There were other-
$1.69 cold cut combo.
Yeah.
I'll never
Those
forget
good
that. Dude.
days. Those are good times.
Now they're $11. I don't even know. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I
How
know.
much is
Ridiculous.
How much is a sub at Subway?
How much, Laura?
About $10-12.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Yeah, $1.69. Dude, now I feel like grumpy old man. Back in my day,
Remember
you
the
get a cold cut
$5
combo.
Remember the $5 foot long?
Yes.
So now they have the single or the 6-inch, the foot long, and then the pro.
What's the single?
I don't know.
It's like a hamburger bun.
No,
No,
like
I don't
just
know.
Slider.
the 6 foot, the foot long, and then the
6
pro.
foot. 6
Yeah,
inch.
6-inch.
Oh,
Sorry.
you said single. I was like, what?
It's in that 6, but now they have the pro, which is you get more meat.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why don't you just already have
Boy,
the
that
right
sounds-
amount of meat?
That sounds
in
like
it?
a bad description of my life. Yeah. This guy needs to get more meat. Wait a minute. Hold on a second here. Sorry, Laura.
Hell yeah. But no, that's a dope last word, man.
Oh, man.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
That's so true. Laura, what do you think? Gonna give you a last word too.
I just want to say thank you for coming on to the show. People don't talk about pornography
Yeah.
so open,
Issue.
and for you to come out and just acknowledge it and talk about it, it's huge. And I think people should talk about it more because I think it does affect a marriage and relationships, and if people are more aware of it, and it can avoid a lot of trauma, a lot of situations. So I just want to say thank you. It was a
thank
great
you.
podcast.
Awesome. Well, the views and likes and subscriptions will determine whether it's a great podcast. I'm glad we negotiated my royalties. It's amazing.
We did.
They're generous too, by the way. Very
Nice.
generous.
He's going to get a
Slice of pizza and a beer.
Some pizza and maybe a foot long.
Ooh, a foot long. Foot long from you.
Or
John.
foot long pro.
Foot long pro. Well, I just want to say again, thank you, dude.
My pleasure, man.
I wish you could have made it to our launch party, man. But honestly, I prefer this, to get to know you more instead of the launch party. You just would be busy and I don't think we could sit down and for you, because talking to you now just feels like I've known you.
It's home, huh?
I seriously
sorry
feel
about
like
that.
that. No, man, I really appreciate that because
awesome.
I can just tell, man, you're a good person, man.
So when I send you an Instagram message now, I might get a reply that's longer than 2 words.
You're not gonna get a douchebag response. Hey, sup?
You may not get a douchebag response, but I might call you a douchebag.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll call you. I'll Instagram, FaceTime you, man. But I think again, one thing I've gathered from all this, man, is that it's addressing the issue. That's it, man. And you guys, people listening, watching, man, quit addressing other people's issues and start addressing your own. Because it's
100%.
easy to point out other people's issues. It's easy to do this, and this. But again, I had a really good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, changed my life. He was out, people can do this, but always remember there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. And so I've learned to take those 3 fingers and really show myself, okay, what's my problem, and talking to you now, man, is only solidified really just, I need more change. I need to, I need to keep growing. And people that watch and listen, You know, again, I want to connect, and I want to reach the people that know they have issues.
Yeah.
And that want to change. I don't want to change. I don't want to connect and relate to those people that think they have it together. You know, they want to live this
Still
fake,
wearing the mask.
Yeah, still fake life on social media. Nah, man, screw that. You know, and until individuals are ready to connect, man, I'm not about that life, man. I don't want to be fake on social media. And so, with all we talked about today, man, I would say my last word is just address the issue.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, and start growing from it. Don't be ashamed from it. Don't let it tear you down and make you feel that I can't come back from this. You know, I've always said, even one of our recent stories, like an old quote I said, man, our setbacks never determine our comebacks, man. And so let's determine our comeback, man, and make it bigger.
I say it like this. Your issues are not your identity. They're your opportunity. Hey, John Maxwell, put that in a book, please.
Right. My man Puerto Rican right now, man. We're going to pass the offering basket right now.
Oh, wait, it's already in one of your books?
That's so true, man. And so, again, that's what I get from this. You know, I hope someday we can, if you're here again, we'll shoot another podcast. If we decide to go still here on the road, we'll shoot over there, man, and, you know, go do something, man. Travel, even try the gliding.
No, you don't want me to teach you that, you know? As evidenced by recent events.
I feel like we're going to do this tandem. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to hit the ground first.
Yeah. Johnny, we have some other tandem.
Yeah, hit the ground running. You know.
I'm sorry, man. I always bring it back to the gutter.
I got to set that one up, didn't I?
Oh, my God.
Knocked it out the park. So, again, man, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Dude, thank you, man. And we're going to be sharing the hell out of this, bro. Yeah. And we'll definitely tag you. You know, you guys go follow, was it Just
a Guy Jeff, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Dude, because you write poems too, right? There's a poem you wrote.
Yeah. I haven't done them in a while because I got tired of the same backdrop and the same sweatshirt because that's what I've been living in for the last 4 months. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll wait till I can get something else.
Is it like comfy though? At least it's comfy.
Sweatshirt, sweatpants, and recliner in the basement. Absolutely comfortable. Not great for the mental health.
Right.
Like this poem I listened to you shared is a cool of the day.
Yeah.
You know, that one really resonated with me, man. So you guys go follow Just a Guy Jeff and show him support, show him love. And man, again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for the guest, bro.
Yes.
Good on you, man. My boy, on it.
Yeah, I am.
On it.
And as always, we would like to open up our podcast to Mr. Tom Brady.
Come on.
You're always welcome to come on and be a guest here on the podcast. We could take it too. You know, if you want us to come to Tampa, I mean, we can St. Petersburg or whatever. We can roll out there. It doesn't matter.
I think if you invite Gronk first, you might get Tom to follow, or maybe Antonio Brown, but that might be sketchy.
Yeah, I think that Antonio would have a lot of fun things to say.
Oh my God.
However,
shout out Tom Brady. We love you. We want to drink your bath water.
No, but
I'm gonna pass on that part.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a bath.
I'll take a bath with him, but I'm not drinking.
I'm not drinking
that.
water.
I'm about that bath water life with him, man. I want to embrace him and breathe Tom Brady in.
If anything's come out of the show, it's an issue you need to address, and it has to do with Tom Brady bath water.
Again, there's a magazine of Tom Brady right here.
An issue, really? I mean,
one man's issue is another man's opportunity.
Yeah.
There it is. Bingo.
It's a perk.
Tom, we'll see you in a couple weeks. So, yeah.
So, again, man, my name's Jose Cruz, your favorite Native American host here on Still Here Podcast. We got my man, Johnny.
Just Johnny Fisher. That's all I am. Just Johnny.
Johnny, Yo Fish.
Yep.
And we got our guy, Jeff.
Just a Guy Jeff.
Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
This is a good show. Good show.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Next time.